it up. I see the blessings, believe I won't give up. Take the reach and touch my people, time to leave and live it up. Oh, lace the kicks up and lift up, falling deep in the vibe. Close my eyes up and drift off. Seeing my life, monster accomplishments, rocking through awkward compliments. All the consequence of a servant's heart with a lot to give. Haters started showing love, speaking with decency. Started seeing hate from people supposed to believe in me. That's why sometimes I don't answer my phone for all of you. Stuck in solitude alone, no bother acknowledging. Getting my rep up and it's feeling like yesterday. Ay, building a legacy. Ay, investors message prepping to bless us. Meanwhile, locals stay fronting, calling the bluffs. It's all because I'm trying to take Denver from nothing to something. Looking back, we weren't ready to touch that stage. Remember my mama's face when she saw the XXL page. Couldn't see the next level, so we had to build it. Didn't want us to prosper, but now they gotta deal with it. See, yo.
I don't know why I thought I could do this for so long.
Man, I'm stressing. Need to get out this hump, take my feet and get out these streets without no reason. Pick it up. I see the blessings, believe I won't give up. Take the reach and touch my people, time to leave and live it up. Oh, sometimes I still question my motive for doing this music. Is it for me or my people struggling to get through it? Is it to kill a show with and murder them verses, or for the kid who bumped LHR when his dad got killed and it hurt him? New deals, nose up in LA to touchdown in Manhattan. Fell asleep mid-flight, woke up, look around like what happened. Prepping to step up, living my life like no rest, giving the best stuff. No stress and weapon, the blessings risen, the right wrongs filled in sessions. I press on through lessons, through it giving my message. They test wrong unless I'm growing through with the users. Rising to my potential and reaching the skies, my eyes see through it. Lying influences, mind is blind, no side of your foolishness. For the first time in my life, I'm feeling like what I decided was right. I'm boarding and stowing and buckling up. I am my target, time to take flight. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Delta Airlines Flight 2998. All carry-on items should now be stowed securely, either in an overhead bin or under the seat in front of you. All aisles, exits, and bulkhead areas should now be clear. All electronic devices should now be turned off and stowed, as they may interfere with the aircraft's navigational and communication
Man, I'm
systems.
stressing. Need to get out this hump, take my feet and get out these streets without no reason. Pick it up. I see the blessings, believe I won't give up. Take the reach and touch my people, time to leave and live it up.
What's up? What's up? It is Friday morning, and I am Trevor O'Connor. This is Unfiltered and Unaffected on worldviral.tv. If you're looking at me, I'm sitting in the producer's chair because our faithful producer is out being a rock star on the East Coast somewhere doing one of his 12 projects that he has going on. He's out there doing shows this weekend, so I was left to man the controls. Man, it's weird. I used to run the show from the control board, and it was never an issue. I also used to have a co-host. I don't know where he went. Mr. Brian Roundtree, he must have worked last night, and for some reason he did not make it today before 9 o'clock. So I have no idea where he is. We do have some great guests lined up for this morning. My good friend and a gentleman I used to co-host a show with, who still does the show independently, Mr. Steve Mudflap McGrew, national touring comedian, former FM DJ here in Denver from KYGO 92.5 The Wolf. He currently has a residency type deal in Vegas at the Brad Garrett Theater at the MGM. He also travels around on I don't want to name a cruise line because I don't want to get it wrong, but he does like 2-week cruises as the comedy entertainment for a cruise line, and ends up in like Rome and Alaska and all over the world. Anyway, Mr. Steve Mudflap McGrew will be here in a couple minutes. My good friend and tattoo artist, Dave Scholl from Dave Scholl Designs, who is tattooing at Lucky 13 Tattoo on Kipling and Colfax, will be here in a few minutes to hang out. Just bullshit, shoot the shit, talk about the tattoo industry and everything that's going on with that. Also, Chad Drew, our resident marijuana expert. That's what we're calling him, I believe, is our marijuana expert. Sorry. Trying to see when guests are going to get here. He is the assistant manager at the Evergreen Apothecary, which happens to be just about 2 doors down from us here on South Broadway. We are located inside of Herman's Hideaway. the historic Herman's Hideaway, 31 years of live music here in Denver, right on South Broadway in Denver. They have allowed us to build a studio in their basement. So that's a really cool tie-in. But let's see, what do we have coming up today? We're going to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The movie is out today. Also, we're going to talk about the Ebola outbreak that's in Africa. We brought 2 doctors back to the U.S. who had contracted Ebola, and they are currently under some scientific quarantine and taking some super secret medication that supposedly is battling that Ebola virus. Also, I want to get my guest's opinion today on the Gaza Strip and what's going on there. I don't understand. They keep calling for treaties and ceasefires and stopping the war actions, but it's not really stopping, because then someone just lobs a missile at the others, and it just keeps going and going and going and going and going. What else is in the news? The Denver Broncos last night played the Seattle Seahawks in a preseason game, which was a matchup of last year's Super Bowl. Apparently, the Denver Broncos won the game last night. It got over way too late for me to stick around and listen to and watch. There was a 45-minute lightning delay, which I guess you can't take lightning too seriously, or not. You can't not take lightning too seriously. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. As they sat around for 45 minutes, which pushed the game even later, but apparently the Broncos did win the game. Peyton Manning was like 11 for 13, had a touchdown. Our rookie quarterback, for some reason his name is escaping me at this moment, also looked really well according to the highlights this morning on the news that I saw. I am not all that familiar with the players on the roster right now, only because for some reason as I get older, things like that become less important to me, and I don't know why. I used to be a SportsCenter nut, man. I'd watch it from like 5 in the morning to 7 in the morning every day, and I'd watch it when I went to sleep at night, and I knew everything that was going on in every sport, and I just don't know where I had the time for that, because it seems like as I get older I don't have any time to do those types of things. And also the importance has lessened to me. Is it that way for everybody as we get older? Does it just lessen? Because I remember as a kid trying to watch sports on TV on the weekends and getting my ass chewed by my dad and him telling me that I needed to get outside and, go do some chores or go do this and go do that. And those athletes aren't paying your bills, so what are you doing spending your time on them and blah, blah, blah. And I always thought that he was just being a complete asshole. I don't have the same exact opinion. I think recreationally it's cool. Whatever you want to do, if you want to spend your time. I just, for some reason, as I've gotten older, no longer have that desire. Man, but it's $1 billion industry. People are buying tickets, going to games, tailgating, having a good time. I see in the news that the Buffalo Bills are on the verge of adding a new owner. Mr. John Bon Jovi is looking at moving up from arena football to into the NFL with the Buffalo Bills. What else is going on? Oh, man, did you see that article? It's been all over sports as well. Ray Rice, NFL player, got busted for domestic violence and received a 2-game suspension, which is odd to me, only in that he receives a 2-game suspension, and there was another player, I do not remember his name right off the top of my head, who got busted for smoking marijuana and got suspended for the season. So I somewhat have an issue with that, in the fact that they don't seem to be weighing out the punishment for the crime, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm not a marijuana smoker, but I am an advocate of legalizing marijuana, mostly because I like when other people have to pay taxes that I don't. But I just don't see smoking marijuana, especially, I don't see it as a performance-enhancing drug. So I don't understand a year's suspension for that against Ray Rice's 2-game suspension for domestic violence. That just doesn't make sense to me. What else is in the news that I want to get to today? J.K. Rowling wrote a letter as one of the Harry Potter characters, I believe, Dumbledore, to a kid who survived a tragedy. I want to get into that with the guests a little bit later today. Man, there's so much stuff going on in the news. Seems like almost everything is sports. Also, did you see the article about the woman in L.A. who got arrested again? Not the first time, but again for sneaking her way through airport security. Her name is Jean Hartman. She wandered into a terminal without an airline ticket, passed through security, got on a plane, and was only arrested at her destination when at her destination they realized she didn't have a ticket. How do you get into an airport through the security line? Because at the security you have to show your ticket along with your ID. But she got through the security line, got into the terminal, got past the gate attendants who are supposed to check your boarding pass as you get onto the airplane. And still at no point was she stopped until she got to her destination. Now, I don't fly that often, but I've flown quite a bit. And I don't remember anyone really checking my ticket on the way off of the plane. So how on the other side they ended up catching her, because pretty much it's just like a free-for-all when you get off a plane. Everyone's just hustling over to the carousel to get their baggage and get out of the airplane. You really don't talk to anyone all the way through. So I have no idea how she was able to get all the way through the airport in California and then get busted at her destination. That's just really, really weird and awkward to me. Hyundai was slapped with a big fine this week. Man, what is going on with the car makers? After the bailout, it seems like there was this big free-for-all where they just felt like they could do anything they wanted and just put out cars and cars and cars and didn't worry about safety precautions, didn't worry about using faulty equipment or questionable equipment. They used what they could get for the cheapest price, it seems. And now all of these car makers are coming back with these huge recalls and getting busted by the government now. Apparently we're getting some of our money back that we gave them. But it's like every week there's a new automaker that's getting busted for something. And I am not sure exactly how that's going to go. There's got to be at some point there's got to be a stopgap where shit gets back in line, but apparently it's not now. I'm also looking at an article that lemons can treat stinky feet. Now, if you are a parent of a teenager or you were a teenager at one point, which we all were, I think every kid goes through the stinky feet phase. And I remember my early teenage years being an athlete on top of being a teenager. Man, I was probably the stinky kid a lot in that I wore shoes without socks often, and that makes your feet stink. And then after the shoes stink, no matter what you do, you can't seem to get it out. And I tried everything, man. I would like put baby powder in there, or I'd spray cologne. And there was nothing worse in the world than spraying cologne into stinky shoes and then putting your feet in. And there was like this ridiculous chemical reaction that just made even a more horrific smell. And then it was locked into your shoes. And then everything you tried was like, oh, the only thing you could do and end up doing was throwing your shoes away. But apparently lemons aren't just for eating or flavoring beverages. We're sharing some life hacks. Let's see what it has to say about lemons here, if it will be good to me. Like other citrus fruits such as oranges, grapefruits, clementines, and limes, lemons are a good source of vitamin C, which we all know. Oh, man. They want me to click through like 12 things to see what that's about, and I'm not really interested in that. So let's go back over here and see what else was going on that I missed. Obama signs a new law to reform the VA in a rare example of bipartisanism. Bipartisanism, that's a weird word just to say. The president signed an urgent reform bill designed to alleviate some of the major issues facing veterans. We've been having an ongoing issue in the news for quite some time now about the veterans in the VA hospital not taking care of the veterans or pushing them off, or they're supposed to get reasonable care within a reasonable time, and it seems like they were faking a bunch of paperwork and pushing them off and doing a bunch of other crazy stuff. But apparently They're starting to jump on board and starting to work through. It looks as if, oh no, the Wolf wants me to join their ticket giveaway. Why do I get text like that in the middle? Where was I at? Oh, the VA. Anyway, the VA was supposed to give reasonable care within reasonable time, and it seems like they were fudging a bunch of paperwork and not taking care of the vets and pushing them off and pretending like they were setting appointments for specialists and then rescheduling and doing a bunch of stuff and just not getting the care that our veterans should receive, which you would think that would be a top priority, a top line deal with our government taking care of the guys that we're sending over to wars that it seems as if a large majority of the population don't support. So when our soldiers are coming home, they're probably, well, I can't say probably, in my opinion, they are not receiving a warm welcome and the greetings that they should be. So the least we should be doing is taking care of them, as well as the soldiers that have fought for us in the past and taking care of keeping our country free. Whether you agree with the wars of the government, man, we got to find a way to take care of the soldiers that put themselves in the line of fire on a constant basis. Apparently I didn't know there was more football games last night. Did you know that the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals also played? If you're in Denver, I don't think you heard of anything other than the Denver Broncos yesterday. Yeah, I had no friggin' idea, which is weird. Huh. If you cannot tell, I am somewhat stalling because normally this is the time of the morning when Brian and I kind of banter back and forth and talk to Chris about what's going on in his life and what everyone's been up to for the last week. But with Chris being out of town, being a rock star, and with Brian apparently oversleeping or not able to make it today for some reason, I have not heard from him, but apparently something must have come up because he's usually pretty communicative with me. I also didn't receive the normal email that he gives me of kind of a rundown of the show, so I'm guessing that we will not have the dinner part of Dinner to Movie today. I did, however, see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I can do that while we're waiting for our guest to arrive. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comes out today. I think there were several showings last night at midnight. I caught an advanced screening earlier this week. And let's see. My opinion is I liked the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when I was much younger, and they were very cartoonistic and characteristic. The reboot, I don't see them as turtles as much as I see them as like grown men, almost like war battled aged men in turtle costume. Shredder was like really, really different. I mean, way less representative of the cool looking martial arts master Shredder that was of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when we were children. I think what will save this movie, and I think it will be a huge success, don't get me wrong, the special effects are awesome. Megan Fox is in the movie, which doesn't hurt ticket sales ever. The CGI and the special effects are amazing. I think the biggest thing that's going to save it and make it a huge success is there's been such a huge gap between the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles of my generation and this one that kids are going to go crazy for it. Kids will absolutely go nuts for this movie. It was good. I mean, it wasn't great. It was good. It was Michael Bay does great special effects movies. Somehow he turns them into epics. Let's see. There's like it's man. I guess my opinion is kind of here and there. I'm not exactly sure where I've landed on this movie. It's good. It's not an adult movie, even though it's PG-13, which tells you that it's going after a more adult crowd. I don't believe that it's adult. It should be adult driven. I just don't feel like that's where it should be. I think this is more of a movie for kids, like 9 to maybe even 7 to 12 or 13 are really going to get a kick out of this movie. They're going to have fun because it's it's the constant action. It's the Ninja Turtles. A lot of kid movies I can land on as an adult and catch the adult humor in and really enjoy. I think they're going to make their money as a kids movie on this one, and not so much as like a Transformers where you have the adults that really are locked into that series of movies. Yeah, it's good, not great. I'll just go with that. Let me see. As I fill time for the next 7 or 8 minutes while we're waiting for our guest to arrive, everyone should be coming in about 9:30, which is going to save my ass because I was not prepared to speak for 30 minutes by myself with no co-host or anybody to ramble along with, but it is what it is. We opened the show this morning. I tried to I tried to utilize a minute or two of the show with some local hip-hop. My good friend SP Double just released his latest mixtape or CD album. And I'm looking for a song to walk out to for my MMA fight, and I think that was the one. It's called So Long, and I dig it. I don't know, I really landed on that one. I struggled between that and another one called Bring 'Em Out. I'm going to play that real quick and go up and check and see who we have upstairs. I think there's people pulling in, and we should, in my opinion, have someone up there. But here is Bring 'Em Out by SP Double.
So there's a difference between a boss and a leader. A boss, he says go. A leader, yeah, he says let's go. MP, bring 'em out. MCs, bring 'em out. M4, bring 'em out. MD, think about. I am a Mac 11, blah 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 blah. Die in the head of 7. Let's go. MP, bring 'em out. MCs, bring 'em out. M4, bring 'em out. Let's go. MP, bring 'em out. MCs, bring 'em out. M4, bring 'em out. MD, think about. I am a Mac 11, blah 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 blah. Die in the head of 7. Chop 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 chop. Let's go. Unapologetic, indebted, and then I'll pop up on you and get it. You run, I rock the doctors and medics. Yeah, options are shredded, pathetic, the alphabetical. I'm prepared for this weapon for conceptual confessional. This is that David versus Goliath triumph. They try and lie and hire sire. I swipe them between the islands, the violence and firefighting. They call me Viking and lines and too tired to tire and swing as I ignite it. The dire desire to dominate and rewire and violate and fry empires and pie the pipe piper. By my side the pipe to climb the pike could deprive life and clash with titans. Blur your sight and slice into your iris. Let's go.
And dig a ditch deep, drop 'em in the lake, hit the plank and make 'em mince meat. Fear is under fate, elevate, let's make this history. Colorado's SP, if you got a problem, we gon' probably get the MP.
Bring 'em out. MCs, bring 'em out. M4, bring 'em out. MD, think about. I am a Mac 11, blah 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 blah. Die in the head of 7. Chop 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 chop. MP, bring 'em out. MCs, bring 'em out. M4, bring 'em out. MD, think about. I am a Mac 11, blah 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 blah. Die in the head of 7. Chop 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 chop. All that syllable, cannibal, feeling so flammable, sick inhalable, animal, killing mechanical hit. Still I let it go and bury a click, pump pedal and pin unbearable air in that clip. Up here and I'm pairing them lip, sharing that rip, scared of the quick spit, rapid fire and violent lick. A mile higher with the science applying to put my eye on you and quick shift the fire and pin. So try it. Is it wrong for me to feel like God blessed me with a gift to think bullets and come equipped with fully loaded clips. This ain't a record director that murders the mercury. This is emergency work serving the verses to hearse you. Let's go.
And dig a ditch deep, drop 'em in the lake, hit the plank and make 'em mincemeat. Fear is under faith, elevate, let's make this history. Colorado's SP, if you got a problem, we gon' probably get the MP.
Bring 'em out, MCs, bring 'em out. M4, bring 'em out. MD, think about. I am a Mac 11, blah, 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 blah. Die in the head of 7, cha, 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 cha. MP, bring 'em out. MCs, bring 'em out. M4.
All right, two of my guests have arrived. Mr. Steve Mudflap McGrew is here, and also a good friend and our resident marijuana expert.
President.
That's right. Chad Drew, let me bring some
around
cameras up.
Is that like
Resident.
Resonated.
Hang on, let me do that. Let me do Oh, let's not do that.
What is that?
Let me do this. That should do it. Can you guys just talk real quick?
What do you want us to talk about? Anything good?
Look how
Resin.
good looking I am.
You're so hot today, Trevor. What is the deal? Have you been working out?
It's mostly the ears. It's what gets the ladies.
Is that what it is? The ears are making me hotter.
It shows that you're a fighter, brother. You know.
All right, guys. I think
I'm a fighter, not a lover.
I'm going to come over there and join you now.
How are you able to do that? I thought you were producing and talking
you know what? I am producing and hosting. We're going to have zero graphics. We're going to have zero flash-ins. So it's going to be us just hanging out, chatting for the morning. Again, I'm Trevor O'Connor. This is Unfiltered and Unaffected right here on worldviral.tv. My good friend and former showmate,
Yay!
Steve Mudflap McGrew.
I don't need. You have
You're
camera
there.
somewhere?
It's
wait,
over
You're there.
Okay, hi.
You're there.
Well, that's a nice camera. There.
Yeah. I went big dogging.
You did.
Yeah. We got
This is cool down here, huh?
It's
some good
nice.
Hell yeah, right?
Also, Chad Drew, like I just said, our resident marijuana expert.
I feel like this is just kind of a lit up version of that Den. What was that movie? Was it True Crime? Not True Crime. True Romance.
Oh, yeah.
Remember where Brad Pitt was the hippie in the den?
He's our Brad Pitt. He's just laying on the couch, and every once in a while,
Yeah, he's raised
You know,
up.
every once in a while.
he just
Hey,
answers
what's
the door.
Weed.
At the very end.
Alright.
Chad is the assistant manager of the Evergreen Apothecary, which is two doors down from us.
2 doors down.
Two
He
doors.
is
Not
also
3 doors down, 2 doors. Yep.
right. He is also a former Clear Channel detainee.
Oh.
Yes, exactly. Was all tied up at one point.
Yeah, Chad was
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
You were one of the tie suit and tie people.
yeah. He
it
was
wasn't
the guy
by
that
choice.
said
They made me choose that. If
Chad-
I went in like this, more sales, man.
Chad was the guy that came to you and said, "Now, Steve, I sold this ad."
And I'm going to need you to make a free appearance. I told him for added value, we're going
Right.
to have you show
Steve
up.
will stop by for 4 hours
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
on a
And
Saturday.
Now, it's in Blackhawk, and I know you have to drive, but we're not giving
We
you
don't have any
gas.
gas. We don't have any
I'll see what the
budget.
casino can hook you up with.
Maybe I can talk him into a free buffet.
But maybe.
Well,
Yeah. That's kind of
probably-
pushing
maybe
it,
a
though.
coffee.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I know that the refreshments, as long as you gamble, are free.
right.
So,
So
yeah.
we're gonna need you to gamble.
Oh, are they doing that finally in Blackhawk?
To an extent, they are.
Okay.
Obviously, Steve and I neither drink, so it's weird to us.
Yeah.
But I think I've gone up a few times, and when they started upping the limits,
Uh-huh.
I think they started then
The free alcohol.
loosening up with the booze.
Because that only makes sense. The drunker you are,
Right.
the more money you're going to spend, the more mistakes you're going to make.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
I have some friends that are perfect examples. I tell you that much. No.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing better than giving free booze to degenerate gamblers.
Are you losing here? Have another cocktail.
Oh, you are on a hot streak. We're going to bring you twice the cocktails. We're going to slow this down real quick. Let's see. Since we last hung out, Steve.
Since we last.
When our Caped Crusaders last appeared, we were in the old PBS building down on Welton and 29th doing the Remasculate podcast.
Yeah.
As that lease expired and some business dealings changed, Steve went back to doing an audio podcast, Remasculate, the podcast, which is on Stitcher.
Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn Radio picked it up.
TuneIn Radio's cool.
Yeah, Podbean, Podbay FM. It's like anything that has a podcast platform. It's got
Yeah,
on.
you're there.
Except I keep getting turned down. This is funny as hell to me. I keep getting turned down from iHeartRadio because they say I don't meet community standards.
Well, have you ever?
No, but it's a podcast.
Right, it's on the internet.
Isn't that the
You're
point?
not on an FM channel.
Right.
You're not broadcasting where there's FCC regulation.
It is because it is a Clear Channel monster, though.
I'm thinking that's
Yeah.
probably what it is.
Without a doubt.
Even though it's a podcast platform.
What we need to
there's
do,
still-
Steve, is we need to put it in under my name because you probably
I've already scared them. I'm on a hit list.
Right.
I'm on a watch list.
it is a Clear Channel.
Bad kid.
Hey, real quick, Autumn, will you run upstairs and let Dave in? My daughters are hanging out in the green room today as we do the show.
Oh, I'm sorry. We better watch ourselves.
No, we don't have to. It's my daughters.
Oh, okay.
They start school next week, so this is like that end run, and
Right.
they're hanging out with Dad. But it's interesting that you get on every platform you want, except for iHeartRadio.
Uh-huh.
Your girlfriend,
Who has a podcast?
who has a
called
podcast,
Two Girls and a Bottle of Wine. She's on. She made it to iHeartRadio, and they're killing. They're whatever. You know, I don't think there's a lot of female type podcasts.
right?
So I think women are looking for something for them.
Oh, for sure, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Well, and I think with Janet's podcast, I think she is that savior in the land of female over the top podcasting.
Right.
Where they're overly sexual or overly giddy or overly this or overly that. Janet's podcast really hits kind of right down the middle of America.
Yeah.
Very cool.
If you listen to Steve and Steve's comedy, or if you're friends of Steve's, come on in, Dave. Just come on in and grab a seat. Janet is the opposite.
She's a, oh my golly, holy biscuits.
Yeah, just
That
go ahead
kind
and
of-
jump on in.
Cool,
on in the middle. Dave Scholl from Dave Scholl Designs, tattooing at Lucky 13
Gentlemen,
at
how are
Kipping
you?
and Colfax.
What's up,
is
brother?
joining
How
us.
are you,
The beard, my friend, is getting bigger.
It is.
It's getting bushier.
It is getting
Like
bushier.
the edges are getting
I'm
wider.
going for that 70s muff look.
Yeah, I like that.
Steve still believes in Bush.
I do. Oh, yeah.
You're
Yeah.
old school, dude.
Oh,
it's cool.
I'm old school. Yeah.
Steve wants to have to take a machete to bed.
Right, right. If I wanted a 10-year-old, I get a candy and some van.
But anyway, we're talking about Janet's podcast, Steve's girlfriend. We don't care about you as much,
No.
right? It's because really she's
here.
where it's at. Yeah.
Yeah, because she's on iHeart.
She's on iHeartRadio. But she is kind of that middle America. You know, she's not the over the top. She's not going to be sexually exploitive. She's not going to be flirtatious and wear skimpy outfits. She is wholesome middle America. And I think that her podcast, there is a huge group of people, men and women, that don't need our type of entertainment.
Right.
Because on this show, on Steve's podcast, there's going to be an F-bomb. There's going to be something that probably crosses your line of morality or your thoughts, either on government, politics, religion. In some way, you're probably going to get crossed. On Janet's, man, you could put it on and actually have the kids in the car.
Right. Yeah. It's just, hey, have you thought about this? Here's some cute topics. Hi.
Right.
Have you girls thought about this?
Right.
Here's some makeup tips. You know, this
Here's
is-
something I found on the internet that was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
This is that. I saw
Oh,
this movie.
I found this new bottle of wine. It's really good. You know.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
kinda-
She does, and it's great. A week or so ago, my wife had the opportunity to come down and guest co-host.
It did very well.
They had a good time. She came home really, really happy. She's like, I need to be able to do that more. And I said, well, just connect with Janet.
Well, she should, because even Janet goes, you know, she was so quiet when she used to produce our show, and she came in here just, you know, on
Ready.
fire and ready
Yeah.
to go.
Well, and she and I have talked about it. Janet used to do a show on the old T Radio V network, Two Girls and a Bottle of Wine. And my wife used to produce that show because they didn't need a guy in the room at all.
Right.
Mostly because
It made the women uncomfortable.
Right.
No, I don't.
You can't mix
You know how it
testosterone
is,
when
you know.
they got.
I don't know. I don't know
Girl,
if
girl
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
needs girl talk.
yeah, they
you
had
know.
girl talk going on, and I was sitting on the other side of the glass, and a lot of times Steve was sitting next to me because we were hanging out, and we were going, wow, I heard this at home.
Yeah, this is the same things they bitch about at the
This
house.
is what they yell at me for. And so they would
Now
look through the
everyone
glass,
gets it.
and then
All right.
so Kristen started producing the show, and that was her big thing. Was so many producers try to jump in and be a part of the show. And my thing about production is, if you're a producer, you're there to almost be invisible, to produce and make sure it happens seamlessly. And she took on that persona. And so it was very interesting that she got to co-host, and she's like, wow, me and Janet really had fun, and it was just back and forth, and it was a good time. I listened to a few minutes of it. I'm going to listen to the remainder of it, but Kristen actually
What?
went
You
back.
haven't listened yet?
I did not listen
How
to
have you not listened to your wife's podcast?
I know.
That's the same stuff I hear.
And she's probably watching right now.
I know. No, I told her. I was honest. I was like, when you guys put it up, I listened to a couple minutes, but then we have the kids, and I've got
Yeah. Oh, I
jiu-jitsu and
know.
training and this and that. And
The same thing just because I got. Did you listen to the podcast? Because I was just up in Aspen. I opened for Ryan Adams up at
nice.
Belly Up, and 5 hours traffic coming back from Aspen, and I get the girlfriend goes, "So did you listen to my podcast?" I go, "No." All that time you were trapped in traffic. She had listened to my podcast.
she had you completely
busted.
trapped too, because she knew you had.
That time in the
Yeah.
car.
There was
and that's
nothing
what-
else that you could have been doing.
And that's what I do in the car is listen to podcasts.
Right.
So I was like, no, I
And you
didn't
didn't choose me?
I meant to listen to
I
it.
meant to listen to yours.
Yeah. And it's hard. It's hard when your significant other also does something that you do, because you want to support them, but also you're doing.
Right.
And so in that world, like I should be getting that support.
Yeah.
So when she does something like that, I'm like, no, wait, we should be talking about me over here for this. Like
Yeah.
band stuff. I do not play in a band. I can't play a musical instrument and I can't sing.
But you know what you like.
But she plays in a band, so when it's time for the band to play, it's all she gets a spotlight, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
When it comes to turning on a microphone and sitting and doing really bad dick jokes, that's
where you
that's
shine.
where I live.
That's where you're
Awesome.
coming to play.
This is where I'm good at this game. So when she does a podcast and you don't listen to it, and you're like, but babe, you haven't listened to my show in like 3 months. Why? But she did a one-off. It was a one.
Well, it could turn into one of those bad things. Like I asked you to cut the grass and you didn't, so you're not getting any
Right.
sex.
Tit-
So now it's
tit
like,
for
did you
tat.
listen to my podcast? No. Well, then you're not getting any.
It's like homework.
I think there are several other things on the list that would get taken away before.
You know, this could be
That.
one of those. Remember that? What was the troll that lived under the bridge in the story? Like, answer these questions and you may cross the bridge.
Answer these questions and you may come to my side.
Yeah,
of the
that may
bed.
be what happens to you. It's like, answer these 3 questions from my podcast, and you may enter the gates of heaven.
Crap.
Or else she
So not
stays a
only do I
troll.
have to listen, I have to take notes.
Yeah,
Oh man. But your house has turned into like Podcast Central.
yeah. My basement is starting to look like this without lights, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do the Remasculate podcast out of there.
Yeah, I do.
But you also do the Remasculate podcast on the road.
Yes, I've got travel equipment, which it seems to break. Traveling with equipment, I don't know how bands do it. Seriously,
Yeah.
because something seems to break almost every time you take
Because
it.
everyone's really careful when they handle it.
I think so. I think so. No matter what kind of suitcase it's packed in, or
Yeah.
foam, or towels, you get back and you go, well, the end of that cord snapped off.
Yeah,
Or the end of,
I got to get another one of those.
yeah.
What do you use for travel?
I've got a little, is it Behringer? I think it's the name of the mixing board. Just a little.
Like a 2-channel or
Yeah,
a
it's
4-channel?
4-channel, and the mics, condenser mics. And then I've got a Yeti mic, a stereo
I like those.
dome mic that I use every once in a while. And I just recently bought a what do they call, a Tascam, the little portable Tascam that's got mics on each side.
Right.
They sit in the middle of the, and that actually works pretty good.
How does the Yeti work?
The Yeti works great.
Isn't it
except
multi-directional?
It's you could either do one side, other side, both sides, or dome. It's got all these different settings.
Yeah.
So I pretty much just set it on dome to
Pick
catch
up whatever.
catch the room. It gives
Yeah.
it the ambiance, you know.
Huh. I used to do remote stuff, but I would drag like 5 crates and
Yeah.
3 backpacks full of gear and then go set up. And
You look like the Stones were coming to town.
like road cases. I have another friend who does the Go From There podcast, and he just got Jay Moore on his podcast.
Oh, nice. Did he when Jay was here in town?
Yeah, I don't know how he pulled it off.
You'd be a pilot.
bobbing for guests. But he got Jay Moore on, but he travels with like an iPad and an iRig.
iRig.
He has an iPad that he records onto with an iRig that plugs into the audio jack
The mic's out.
and the mic out, and that's his whole entire rig.
One mic, or
Damn.
does he do 2 mics?
I think he does one.
Like this, kind of a...
One condenser mic that's open, because that has multiple settings on it as well. And I think that he does it as that and just opens it up to both sides.
That is a really nice mic, by the way.
Yeah, that's
I
like
know.
all the dollars.
Is that all the
There's
dollars?
2 of them.
Yeah, there's
'Cause
two.
Holy crap.
I just bought new mics. It's one of the reasons on my podcast. I'm like, if you'd like to hit the donate button,
Please.
I just bought new mics.
Yeah.
Is that these good mics like this? You really have to know the setting or the distance.
Yeah.
And I find that sometimes cheaper microphones
Are easier.
are easier
Well,
because you're either going to be right here.
If you've
or,
been a mic guy, this kind of stuff is because this is what I know. I know my voice pressure,
yeah.
and I know when I need to get loud, I can just come over here and get loud, and it's still the sound is still understanding that I'm getting louder. But if I get loud right here, it just pisses everybody off.
Yeah.
So like guys like you that were on radio for a really long time, I can put a regular mic in front of, and you will work the mic.
Yeah, you have to know that I'm going to sit because I'm about to get loud, so I should get back. But a lot of guests that don't do podcast or radio, when they want to make they get right up and
Yeah.
like, oh,
Well,
and you just see the
Super
spike.
loud.
You see
Yeah,
the spike.
it's all
Here,
red
listen
line,
to it.
pin,
You get
pin,
that
pin,
overmodulation. Okay.
Well, in our old studio, we used to have everybody in headphones.
Yeah.
Which was easier on the guests because they could hear themselves
themselves.
get too loud or get too far away. In the new studio, we wanted it to be more comfortable, more lounge feel. So we got rid of the headphones. They're speakers, so you can kind of hear yourselves, but you don't know exactly. And if you're not on a mic all the time, you do that thing where you want to get loud, so you get closer, or you laugh into the mic instead of laughing, just 45 off of the mic, and people are like, my ears are now bleeding because I'm going to die. Anyway, back to what Steve's been doing since he and I used to do his show together, Remasculate, which was the top-rated show on T Radio V Denver.
And I don't know what happened to T Radio V Denver, those bastards.
You just never know. You just never know what might pop up. But it was great. We had such a good time. And it was really, the show consisted, you used to do it as a podcast where you would just get country singers, comedians, buddies come in and you would do the podcast and talk about. And then you came in to T Radio V as a guest, and we did the Remasculate. We moved it to there, and it would just be me and you on opposite sides of the glass. Just a lot of times it was just us having at each other. And then
what do you mean? What do you mean, you liberal? What do you mean, you Republican?
Yeah.
What do you mean, you?
Which I think created some pretty good ratings because we did come from vastly different ends of the spectrum on a lot of our beliefs, even though we have the same belief from different angles a lot.
Yeah. Well, I think we're both in the middle, but we just
lean just a little bit.
We lean like this, but we're both basically in the middle, but lean out.
We both more of the. I don't think either one of us buys into our party completely as much as we buy into traditional values completely.
Yeah, I always tell people I believe in right and wrong.
Yeah,
that's really my party. Is it right or is it wrong? I mean,
I believe in my grandpa's rules.
Me too.
That makes
do
it
wrong,
me.
you're gonna get the bill.
Yeah.
Get the
you stay with me and your grandma, boy. You live under our roof.
Yeah. I believe in grandpa's rules.
Yeah.
I mean, if you live life by grandpa's rules. I mean, because Grandpa still snuck off and had moonshine in the shed.
True, but haven't you noticed that everything now is kind of like against Grandpa's rules?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, this isn't your grandpa's car.
Definitely
this
rebelling.
isn't your grandpa. It's like they're trying to just make it's a whole new world.
Right.
You know? New world, new rules.
Yeah.
Well, and
rebel
everything
against the old.
Everything has to be like way to the right or way to the left. No one wants to be middle anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Which the middle is pretty much where we can all somewhat agree.
Right.
But it doesn't happen.
Don't you think the one thing that I'm noticing is nobody, and I don't know how we need to relearn this or reteach it or whatever, but just admit when you're wrong.
Yeah.
Just admit when you're...
there's no accountability nowadays.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
No one doesn't take account for
I
their
went
actions.
on a little Facebook tirade the other day, just exactly about this. And some people got their feelings really hurt. Some people really agreed with me. But here's the deal. The gentleman that got shot, it was like last week, he got shot by the apartment security who was armed.
Wow.
Because he pulled an airsoft gun. It was late, 2 o'clock in the morning. The orange tip on the airsoft gun had been removed. So it now looked like a gun. He had been pissing in the public area, the dumpster area in the apartments that he lived in. And the apartment security, and now I'm not saying that the apartment security was 100% right or wrong, but this is what happened. The apartment security was detaining him to discuss the fact that he's pissing in public in the apartment complex, and the guy won't stay. The guy won't give him his information and starts walking to his apartment. The security guard follows him to the residence. The guy then turns and pulls out the airsoft gun. The security guard for the apartment complex is armed by right of the security company, not just armed because he's Rambo, and pumps 3 rounds into him, and the guy dies. Now I'm watching the news. I'm watching social media. You know how you watch the things that irritate you the most? I read Westward because it fucking pisses me off.
Written by communists. No, I'm just joking.
Written by fucking douchebags most of the time. I was reading an article in there, and all of a sudden, his friends, his family, people, and of course, any anti-gun, is going at the security guard, talking about how this guy was going to be a father soon, and he was a good guy with a big heart, and he did all these. Really? Because I don't know too many perfect angels who are pissing in the dumpster at 2:30 in the morning and pulling an airsoft gun on the security guard that was trying to deal with a situation that in a property that he's there to maintain and protect.
Right.
Yeah. They're talking about how they want the security guard charged with murder. I don't get it.
Well, it kind of goes with my post that I did the other day.
Okay.
You saw mine about, hey, Facebook, could you stop with the cop hating and the posting of the videos?
Yeah.
Because I know there's bad cops. I mean, I know that. But I think too many people, it's almost like a bandwagon.
It's witch
everybody
hunting.
Wants to jump on. Those guys go out every day. Yeah. Not knowing they're ever coming home. Yeah. Do you want to do that? I don't want to do that. Well, but if they weren't there, it'd be just lawlessness in the streets.
And I'll jump onto that with you. I have had run-ins with the law at multiple points during my life.
Me too.
I've done,
especially when you look like this.
Right. I've done stupid things. But what I have found in all of those times, I mean, I'm sleeved. I used to drink. I've been a dumbass in public. I've gotten in fights. I've had altercations. All the things that cops are usually called to.
Yeah.
And usually those are the things that we're seeing videos of ending up badly. Yeah. What you don't see in those videos is the 5 minutes before that where the guy's being a complete fucking tool to the cops.
Not complying. I'm not complying. Not, you said the security guy said stop.
Right.
You didn't.
Stop.
Well, if the camera started right after he said stop, then
you don't hear
all
any
you
of
got
this.
was you don't get any of the.
Any time that I've had to deal with the police, and I've been arrested a couple times, I've gotten traffic tickets. Any time that I've had to deal with the police, I've used yes, sir, no, sir. Mm-hmm. May I ask a question, please? And I have never in my life had to deal with brutality.
Yeah.
Right.
I've never been slammed down. Mm-hmm. I've never been told to stop resisting. Why? Because at no point did it escalate to a point where I needed to be forcefully detained and was resisting. Right. Yeah. Even at a couple of points when I have been arrested, they said, would you please turn around and place your hands behind your back? That to me is a direct order of a guy who has the ability to either shock me, mace me, or shoot me.
Not only the ability, the authority.
Right.
For sure.
That's the main word.
Definitely.
At that point, I find that it's in my best interest to go ahead and turn around and place my hands behind my back. Even if I disagree with why they're detaining me,
We'll figure it out later.
That's why
Right.
you have the ability to go to court and hire a lawyer and sort things out.
And actually, there's a thing called sue for false arrest.
Right.
So there's all kind of stuff.
I have
Just
been-
go along with.
I have been detained by police because I was in an altercation in a public place that several people got into a fight, and I happened to be involved with. So the cops are coming in on high alert. Why? Because you already got aggressive people in
Yeah,
situations
exactly.
where violence
Right.
is happening. I was detained. They pulled me out because it was apparent that I was involved in the altercation. They put me in handcuffs, sat me on the curb, along with about 12 other people, and staged far enough apart
I've
that we
seen those
weren't
handcuff parties.
that far enough apart that you're not having a conversation with the guy.
Here's what you need to tell them.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they want to get the full story. Now, if they just let me go and it comes to find out that the 2-second story that I gave them was bullshit and they let me go, and then they find out later that I was the guy, then they're assholes for not doing their job.
Right.
Now, if they detain me and it takes an extra 30 minutes or an hour out of my life for them to sort it out, figure it out, do
Yeah.
what they're supposed to do, and then they go, all right, it's apparent that you were involved, you were not an instigator, blah, 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 blah. We're going to go ahead and cut you loose this time, but you need to be more aware of your surroundings and your situation. And they take the cuffs off, and I go home. Were my rights really violated? I don't think so.
Not really.
You were involved in an incident.
Even
that
if I
needed to
wasn't
be cleared up.
directly involved,
Right.
were my rights violated? No. Was I inconvenienced? Maybe. Was I inconvenienced in a way that saved possible other violent outbreaks 2 blocks away? Probably so.
Yeah.
So was someone else's life not inconvenienced because I was a dumbass and had to tell my story? Great. It's not that difficult. Now,
Are we part of a new mentality, though, of the whole, I'm free to do anything I want. I'm just free. The pigs, the cops,
Well-
nothing is wrong. I'm just doing my thing, man.
entitlement.
Yeah.
Entitlement kind
Yeah.
of thing. That we've become this kind of.
Entitlement
Well,
has really
Who are
gotten
you
me
to
good.
say I can't?
Well, and a lack of respect too, I think. I mean, those guys are just there to do their job, just like he's going to be tattooing on you, dude. And if you go and lay on his table and you start getting
He's the
agitated,
boss
and
at that
he
point.
is. You have to do exactly what the hell you need to do in
Right.
order to get the.
If he
goal
has to
that-
handcuff you down,
Oh, can we
At
do
you
that
might
later?
have a
At
couple.
that
things.
moment, I have the authority.
Can we do
Right.
that later? The handcuff thing? Now we can transition this. Chad is works in the marijuana industry, which was recently legalized recreationally and
That's why
medically
I
here.
came in this morning.
Hey,
in
what's up?
Colorado.
I got some.
Recently legalized recreationally.
Captain Crunk cereal.
Right. Now, a discussion that we had last time you were on, and a discussion that continues to come up, is laws were passed, and now there's the same mentality that other people have for other reasons. A lot of people, and it seems to be that 20s, the early 20s, the mid 20s, that are like, fuck the police, it's legal. Well, no, it's legal under these ramifications.
Right.
Now, do you see that those people, because they're not obeying the law, when they're being detained, when they're being asked to stop, do you think a lot of those people, a lot of fewer tickets would be written, a lot of fewer incidences would happen if the cop comes by and goes, hey guys, you can't do that here. And they just put it
I'm
out
sorry.
and say, I'm sorry, and go on about their
And
business.
I do have to say, I mean, obviously it's a little bit of an apples and oranges thing, because I mean, I've been to a stoner party where nobody's drinking, there's no fighting, there's no altercations, there's nobody throwing up in the driveway, dude. Couples are getting together. If an authority figure usually comes up to someone that's stoned, I mean, how many times have you ever gotten really violent on weed? How many
I'm not
times have you
talking
ever-
about violent as much as I'm talking about publicly disrespectful.
Right.
And the large majority of people that decide to smoke and partake in marijuana in public, disobeying the law, are also the same people who are disrespectful in public.
Well, don't you
Right.
think maybe a lot of people don't even know the actual law? That
Yeah,
they just heard the
on
soundbite.
both-
Weed's legal.
Dude.
Weed's legal.
We're
Right.
on.
Yeah.
That's on both sides, though. I mean, there's a lot of
yeah.
people that use it
Sure.
that don't know what the hell's going on, and they ask us, "Where the hell can I?"
That's what we're talking about. People who have no idea what's
Right.
legal.
They just
But
heard
there
it's
is
legal.
also the authority side, whether it be police or security or whoever at the time, that I mean, you tell them, hey, dude, I got a red card. Sometimes that actually just kind of backs
They're like,
them up
"Oh,
a little bit.
cool."
Oh, well, I don't really know what the hell that means either. So,
Sure.
okay, cool.
Well,
you know?
here's the situations that I'm talking about. I take my children to go to a movie. We walk out of the movie theater, and the thing I don't want to explain to my 9 and soon-to-be 7-year-old is what's that smell and why are those people, being loud and acting that way and smoking that right there. Well, it's not legal for one.
Right.
So
Totally isn't.
I'm now showing my children that you don't have to follow the law. No, they're smoking marijuana. They're allowed to do that there? No, not legally.
They only pick and choose the laws they want to follow.
That's what I'm talking about by being publicly disrespectful.
Right.
Why should I have to explain the same way that I don't want to explain to my kids why the guys in the public park are boozing it up and acting like assholes?
Or why I don't have to explain to my kid why the guys in the public park are having sex.
Right. All these same things. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, and I think that when it comes to that kind of a topic, I don't think that you should feel... I feel apologetic that you even feel like you're in a situation at that point, because to be honest with you, as the taboo of marijuana goes away within the industry and it's more accepted as a cultural thing, you know what I mean? I think that there needs to be a lot more education, a lot more respect about it, and I do believe that the average stoner, not just the rebellious teen, I mean, there is that stereotype of the rebellious teen that's going to want to screw everybody. I'm going to smoke wherever I want to.
There's a bunch of 40-year-olds that have been smoking weed for 20 years.
But how many 40-year-olds are going to be sitting around outside the theater? Exactly. I mean, I got something like this right here that doesn't smell like a damn bit like weed.
Right.
And we educate the public, like, dude. I mean, if you're gonna, here you go. If you're good, no. I'm just,
I just want to look.
But yeah,
don't inhale, Steve.
No, I just want my neighbor to get one of these.
I mean, it's a concentrate. It's going to give you the same effects of weed, but there ain't a damn person around you that's going to be able to smell that that's weed. There's no... I always tell, especially folks that come into the store and they're like, where can we? Well, think of it that your mom is still kind of... You like that?
Your mom is still... Your mom knows you're high.
Yeah, for sure. It'll make them paranoid. No.
Your mom knows. Is that like a little... Is that the...
That's the oil, yep. Yep.
Oh, very nice.
But yeah, I mean, there's ways to be respectful about it, and I do believe that the stoner community, when educated properly, can have much more of a respect for not only authority, but where the hell you're supposed to do it and stuff.
It's no different to me, personally, and this is my personal opinion, and I understand people talking about don't take away our freedoms, and they want to govern everything. My wife is a smoker.
Yes,
all right.
Obviously.
I think I heard that somewhere.
No, my wife doesn't, my wife smokes cigarettes.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't smoke them in the house. She doesn't smoke them in the car because we have children. She doesn't smoke them, and she is very respectful in where she goes to smoke, in the same way that I don't want to go to a restaurant and walk out the front door and the first thing that blasts my children in the face is cigarette smoke or pot.
Right.
I'm not a fan of it.
There has been such a liberating feeling of having something that's been so taboo for no reason now coming to the forefront of things that I do think that people take advantage of it far, far more, especially in these infant stages of the whole industry. I do believe that as the industry progresses and evolves, you will see more of a respect that comes along like cigarettes. I mean, the biggest reason why people aren't supposed to be smelling cigarettes as much is because they had that whole campaign as far as secondhand smoke and
carcinogens.
Let's not have people indoors, so they moved it all outside. And I think now as a I've been a smoker of cigarettes in my life as well, and evolving through that vice of mine, I've realized that there are some more respectful ways to handle it. I don't like to smoke in a car if I got kids, but anybody that's in the car that doesn't like to smoke cigarettes, why the hell am I going to smoke a cigarette then? Because I'm exposing you to a smell that I hate myself. You know what I mean? So I think that while the liberation and the freedom of the whole industry has been kind of starting to try to get grasped as far as how to be handled within the common culture, I do believe that there will be the respect that will come along. As more parents have chances to be able to show their kids respectfully, hey, if you're going to choose this instead of alcohol, this is how you do it to be good person as my
Yeah.
more about it.
If
You
you're
know, I
gonna
think-
fuck your cousin, you do it in the shit.
there you go.
You don't
Exactly.
do it out in the
exactly.
bar.
Exactly.
Now,
You don't do it at the reunion.
Well,
Steve travels outside of Colorado. Go figure. People leave Colorado.
That's
on
crazy.
occasion.
I don't know what the hell you do that for.
Steve travels outside of Colorado to do comedy often. What is the take when people find out you're from Denver?
Well, it totally used to be, oh, you're from Colorado. Do you ski?
Or do you have a horse?
Oh,
It
yeah,
used to
not
be,
anymore.
not anymore.
Hell yeah.
Not
Hell
anymore,
yeah.
dude.
That's awesome.
Now
No.
you're from Colorado. Oh,
Oh,
you
yeah.
get high?
Yeah.
We
I
are.
mean, that is now, but that's the only, it used to be ski or Broncos. Hey, how about the, no, totally, everything in anybody's mouth. Colorado. Oh.
I went to a convention in Chicago in March, and one of the artists I was working with, he's kind of next to me. He got tipped out with like some weed, and of course I don't fly with that stuff. So afterwards, he goes, "Hey man, when we're all done, let's go up to the room and roll one up." And I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's do it." So we go up there and figure out that there's a fire alarm in there and smoke detector, and so we decided we're going to take that off the wall. And I'm talking
As soon as you
within
take it off.
seconds, the phone rings, right? And it's security. Hey, we got a little alert that your fire alarm's messing up, and this and that. As soon as we get off the phone, he hangs up, knock, 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 security's at the door. I mean, it was a big deal, so we decided, let's just go outside of the hotel and
Right.
smoke out there. So we walk out, and there's a couple artists out there smoking cigarettes, and so we light this up, and we start smoking, and they go, "Is that weed?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Where are you from?" And I go, "Denver," and he goes, "Oh yeah, that explains everything." That was the mentality, like,
Right.
"Oh dude, you're from Denver, you can smoke wherever you want," and that is not the case.
If your
No,
license
it's totally
says
not the
Denver,
case.
it's
No.
legal. In,
Yeah.
My
Totally
mom,
not the case.
my mom's not watching, but my mom, she's
Hopefully.
she's an old school smoker, but she texted me. This is like a month ago, and she's like, "Send me some bud, dude."
That is so weird to
God,
me.
dude.
You
It's
know what
so
I mean?
crazy
And
to
I
think
go-
that people are just like that. You know what I mean?
And I text her back. I go, "No, hey son, how are you doing today?" Or, "No, I love you, son." And she goes, "Listen, I've already looked it up online, the do's and don'ts. I can tell you how to do it." I'm like, "Are you serious?" So I'm like, "Mom, I'm not doing that." So she lives in Monterey, California. A week later, she sends me a picture of 4 containers. She goes, "I got my red card, so don't worry about it." And I'm like,
There's a smart girl. There's a smart girl.
it's
Monterey, beautiful, by the
Yeah.
way.
yeah, definitely.
you know, I think it's given Colorado such a bad name with our surrounding states that I'm scared to travel outside of Colorado.
Yeah.
They're just going to see the
Nah,
plane pull you over.
I mean, initially that's kind of how it was, is that the cops were kind of being profiled or targeting the Colorado plates. But honestly now, I don't know why we would have such a bad, name amongst the surrounding states, because honestly, I have so many people from just the straight surrounding states. If you want to maybe even include Texas, from Texas to Oklahoma, Nebraska, Wyoming is huge. I have Utah people that come over, and now the cops are starting to actually look more for the plates that are going back, because that's
Oh,
actually
yeah.
And the
Yeah.
reason, I think the reason behind it is because as Coloradans, we don't realize that not everybody has the quality of marijuana that is in Colorado now, because there's this huge scientific, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like the old 70s ditchweed that you
Yeah.
can still get in Podunk, Idaho,
You
where
got-
they have no
I
idea.
grew
You got-
it out in my garage. You want to buy some?
You got to clean it for like 20 minutes, get
all
all
the
the seeds and
seeds
stems.
out.
And you're like that.
So I think, and I know of some people. I know of some people. Like, I don't know them directly,
Right.
who were making an assload of money buying medical grade marijuana here at reasonable prices, and then driving a state or two away and tripling.
I've heard crazy.
So they were going like to the
I've heard
Sam's
crazy
Club
stories
of
about-
marijuana.
yeah.
We stock up here and we sell it to you at a savings.
yeah.
But they-
I've heard some crazy stories about
like they're selling,
yeah.
like they're buying an ounce for $150-$200 here. And
Mix it with a little oregano. And then
they don't even have to mix it because they're taking it from Colorado and they're taking it to like Pocatello, Idaho, and selling that same ounce for $600 or $700.
Yeah, easily, because the quality.
because
is
the
so,
marijuana
yeah,
is so.
yeah.
I mean,
I do
Well,
have
that's-
to. I do have to say that, since this whole medical thing came about, when I fly back to California to see family and tattoo, I'll call my brother and say, "Hey, dude, make sure you have an eighth for me when I get there." And, you know, he'll go, "Oh, here you go, bud." And I'll look at it and I'll smoke and I go, "What the fuck is this?" And he's like,
Yeah,
"You're
even
too
in Cali,
fucking high."
bud.
He goes, "You're too high maintenance, dude." And I go, No, that's not it at all, man.
I'm from Colorado.
Yeah, exactly, dude. I mean, I can walk into a dispensary and look at different weeds and buy some top grade stuff or whatever that blows that Cali
Anything
stuff.
is-
We
Yeah.
are all turning into pot
And what's with this
snobs.
whole
Yes,
Colorado
pot
thing?
snobs.
Washington's fucking legal too.
But you don't
You
hear
don't hear
anything
anything
near
about
as
So
much.
Washington
right?
only really has one store that's recreationally. Last I heard, they might have actually bumped it up by a couple by now, but maybe a month or two ago is when that actually happened, and they really only had
They only had one
store.
legal recreation
One
It's
store.
not like
play,
it's not like here where you can walk
From
every
Yeah.
block
You can hit
has
a weed
I
store.
gotta walk a couple blocks down and buy some.
Right,
Yeah, we
there's
got
there's
Broadster
green
down
doors
there.
down
signs everywhere.
to
And
his
then-
shop.
And this is starting to be right here at Broadway and Evans.
Broadster
They're starting to call this the Green Mile right here. And you drive through there. If you go off on Santa Fe, where all the grow houses are, I mean, you can walk around there. It smells like skunks pissing all
Well,
over the place.
And here's the
It
thing:
could be.
you can hit a dispensary before you can hit a Starbucks in Denver now.
True,
Mm-hmm.
true. There's a dispensary inside a dispensary. We just
Actually,
did the old Starbucks joke.
right.
and-
You know, one of my favorite questions, actually, and I think I hit on it last week, is that Denver's actually finally turned into a spring break destination. And one of my favorite questions to ask out-of-staters now is, are the bags still in the car? Because honestly, they'll go straight from the airport.
To the dispensary.
And bags are still in the car. We knew we needed the bud,
Yeah.
dude. We needed the bud,
See, and this
man.
is-
So
Let me ask you guys a question because I've wondered this kind of thing. We all know in the past, and we all still know, just the bad stoner dude.
Right.
The bad. I mean, the caricature of like, dude, I just get high and I'm wasted and I've did no
Yeah.
motive. I'm on the couch. I've got no
Yeah.
motive. We had those friends in high school. You're like, you smoked your way into Loserville.
right.
How is Colorado going to keep that from just expanding? Because I mean, we all know recreational drug is what, you know. It's like having a cocktail. But once it becomes legal, how do you stop the spread of
That's-
like just of those guys?
I think honestly, there are more like normal, functioning
Yeah.
weed smokers, recreational weed smokers, than stoners by far.
That's such a
Well, I don't know. I'm
stereotypical,
not-
Like you take
cliche
Dave.
kind
I'm
of.
Dave
a tattoo
works-
artist, dude. So
Dave
it's
works
like,
6 days a week.
Oh, I know.
I mean, I'm a tattoo artist, so yeah, I smoke weed. You know, I smoke weed and color on people all day. You know, but my girlfriend, she's an office manager. She makes great money, and she goes to work all day long and comes home, and
when it's
she'll
time to
smoke
come
weed.
home,
Yeah,
it's time to.
Dude.
She'll come home and smoke at home. You know, it's not a big deal. But the thing with the whole, like, you remember the Reefer Madness video?
Uh-huh.
Guys all freaking
Well, we
out
all know
shit.
that was fake. But
But,
I'm talking
you know,
about
the
we do
whole-
know
That
ourselves.
wasn't
We all
fake.
have stoner
The
friends.
lazy guys, that
Yeah.
goes back to the technology of weed nowadays. I mean, the strains you have, like, I like smoking sativas because a sativa gives you, it
Gets
lifts
you
you up,
moving.
it gets you
Yeah.
motivated.
It does,
But
it's
then
not
there's
not
the-
all weed now makes.
Not
there's-
everybody's
But
doing the
when I go to a
indicas now.
dispensary, I'll buy sativa and then I'll buy some indica, and then me and Kay, when we're at home at night, we'll smoke some indica because that's just a nice, calm, relaxing.
See, I'm
have no-
I'm learning right
You
now.
got, see, you got daytime, afternoon time, and evening time.
It's
weed
kind of
now.
like evening tea, high tea,
Yeah.
sleepy
It's
time
just like
tea.
wine. You got reds and whites.
Well, and
and, yeah.
Steve, I
Because
also
seriously, I quit drugs and alcohol 20-something
Yeah.
years ago. So I mean, I'm kind of away from it. I'm aware of it. I still have
it's
friends.
there,
and-
but
yeah, but the weed at my point was just hidden in your pants. Let's get high and go to a concert.
You had to go
and-
meet a guy in an
and
alley
hope
to
we
get
don't
it.
Pass out before we get
Yeah.
home. You know.
Right.
well, and I think to lend back to your point, I think regardless, there's going to be the stoner dude.
Yeah.
Those guys were never going to be productive in society
Right.
Yeah.
anyway. So why do we give a shit?
Right.
Well, and also you do have the alcoholic where they're friends. So the
Same
support
guy.
system has to say, "Dude, you're a fucking alcoholic, dude."
Right, it's the
You know
same
what I
guy
mean?
in different
Dude,
words.
you're a stoner. Knock it
Exactly.
off.
Dude, you need to do something and get your ass off the
I'm
couch,
not
bro.
going anywhere
In
your
any
life.
situation, you have that guy. You have the video game guy who sits in his basement and he's 35 and he lives with his mom and he's playing video games where he's got no
Meatloaf.
productive use for society. You have the stoner guy who's laid out on the couch. He's like, lost another Pizza Hut job
Cheeto
this
bags
week.
everywhere.
Fucking
Yeah,
assholes. They just don't get me.
Yeah.
And you have the same alcoholic guy who gets fired from every construction job and every company down the road.
Right.
Those guys were never going to be productive anyway. Regardless
Right.
of what their choice is to do,
Yeah.
video games, pot, alcohol, They were never going to be.
But I
today.
think people do worry about that because every one of those has an addiction line.
Right.
Like every one of those, whether it's alcohol, video games, social media, they all have a point where you tip and go too far. I think that's what people sort of wonder about sometimes.
But it's about managing your addictive personality regardless.
That is one of the reasons why they call it recreational and not like habitual marijuana or something. You have to
It's
know.
recreational.
You have to know
Not
right
junky.
time, right place. I tell people that all the time. Right time, right place, man. If you got in college, man, if I have an exam, I have a final, I have to do all this shit, I have to make a speech the next day, dude, I'm not going to sit around and get stoned. I'm not going to sit around and get drunk either. I'm going to focus and get my stuff done. You know what I mean?
I had a friend who was a computer programmer. I mean, we wrote code, and he would wake up in the morning, wake and bake, all day long.
Yeah, wouldn't you have to be high to stare at that screen?
And
right?
I think it's kind of like you were saying. I get high and I color people, or that kind of. I think he was it focused some people like. It just becomes zeros and ones,
Well, there are those ones
there
are those sativas that actually get more into the right brain or the left brain, depending on what the composition of that bud is. I have one strain over at the store that I sell all the time to musicians, artists, painters, photographers, and because it gets into your right brain. And dude, if you don't bust out some of the most creative stuff, I've had people come back for an eighth every day because they're making some crazy shit happen.
I need to be creative.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I need to check this.
I got you, brother. It's called Perplex. No.
I guess.
But at the same time, going back to your point, there are all those stoners that are sitting around. But dude, I got doctors, lawyers, nurses. One of the biggest industries that has been coming in to get anything has been teachers. I mean, they're kind of supporting their own industry. The first 40 million goes to the schools.
Well, I think we need more stone teachers anyway.
Dude, if you had to deal with 56 graders, man,
there would be my next question because legal in the state, not legal in the federal system, not really legal in the banking system. So where is the money?
They walk in. I know this because we have to deal. I have a day job. And we deal in oil and gas, which is a large dollar thing. And our banker was talking to us because they were dealing with some securities and tax laws. The marijuana guys are hiring armed security to travel with them to the tax building, and they're paying their quarterlies in cash.
But that's been going on for like 4 or 5 years, though. I remember for some of the first shops I was involved in, there was me, the owner, and his wife. But, when it came money time, we would have probably 3 or 4 big dudes like, oh, it's money time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So being a cash liquid industry is
horrible. What's happening now, though?
The most recent thing is that Governor Hickenlooper signed a little bill in that said that he wants to actually make kind of a credit union for Colorado in this industry solely for the industry, because you can't have the FDIC anything that has to do with the FDIC right now. You know what I mean? So that's why it's
can't
been
really put it in the bank.
It's hard. You can't put it in the bank.
Illegal dope money.
And honestly, most of it's kind of sad, but in a way, it's really good for the economy because most of the businesses that know what the hell they're doing and are planning on being around for 10 more years are investing. State. They're just investing and trying to help out where they can and putting their money.
Well, you would think that we want to find ways to get their money in because we want to be able to track it. If I'm in an all-cash business, how much of that am I reporting?
Well, see, that's just like
tattoos.
Yeah, it's the same thing with me, And there's different regulations and stuff with credit card companies for tattoo industry also.
Yeah,
different percentages.
Can I pay with my debit card?
Not anymore. We actually started out the year trying to be able to do that, but for many reasons,
because it was pot money.
Yeah, for many reasons, we actually couldn't do it anymore.
So you cannot buy Powerball tickets with your debit card, and you cannot buy weed.
And you cannot buy Voodoo Donuts with your debit card.
Oh, you can't?
Right.
That's a cash only.
That sucks. I like Voodoo Donuts, too.
Machine there. We did the Voodoo Donuts experience. I busted the Voodoo Cherry.
Isn't it great?
Oh.
I love Voodoo Donuts, too.
I've not had them.
Dude.
Oh,
they're like the craziest donuts with like cereal and shit on them.
I've never had them.
Dude, that's so good.
Dude.
Yeah. The Memphis Mafia donut is about this big, and it's just an amazing.
Brian Roundtree, my co-host over here.
Brian.
They say hi, Brian. He went and did. We usually do a segment called Dinner and a Movie, Steve and I work with the same media company, so we review movies together and do promotional stuff with them. So I usually sit and review a movie that I saw that week, and then he would go to a restaurant and review the restaurant. And he did Voodoo Donuts, and the video was interesting in the fact that the donut his kid picked was the one that looked like a dick.
Cock and balls.
Cock and balls. I almost got that because it looks delicious.
Yeah.
But
Is it cream filled?
It has, and it's funny that it's chocolate covered.
Chocolate covered, and it's about that long and chocolate covered.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Where did that going come from?
My girlfriend goes, "You're not really going to eat that in public, are you?"
Like this, right?
See, back
No, I'll go ahead and just get the voodoo doll.
back to Janet living right down the
Right in
middle.
the middle.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But
that's
that's a cash business in Voodoo Donuts. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and no matter when you go there, you're waiting in line for 45 minutes to an hour. You could go there at 3 o'clock in the morning, and everyone's getting out of the bars, and where they're at, they're standing in front of Voodoo Donuts. So that's...
Which is insane. That was like when Krispy Kreme came to Denver. There was like that huge thing, but then it died down. But Voodoo is like
Way better.
stayed the same.
Well, Voodoo has been such a secluded company that
Right.
was only in Portland. Then they opened a second location in Portland, and then one in Eugene. And then they branched out to Colorado. We know why, though.
Yeah.
They're in Colorado. Right? And they've done great there. I mean, every time you drive by there, there's just a line waiting out.
Well, you know what the good thing about the line is? It helps you make up your mind before you get there.
Oh, yeah.
Because we had called up the website, and while we were standing in line,
You're all this one?
just we'll be like looking at the menu. You know, we're just like,
You totally have to,
oh,
too. There's so
look at
many
that
fucking
one. We
crazy
could get,
ones.
you
I
know,
love donuts.
Dude,
Oh,
they're
dude,
so
they
good.
are- they
They're
are
so good.
I haven't had a
man.
donut in a long time.
We might have to make a break to them after this here. Yeah.
They
Not
have
really
their,
on the diet right now.
They have a maple bar with
Stop.
strips of bacon on top
Thanks.
of it. Oh, my God.
I don't care about the bacon part. But
Yeah.
there's nothing better than like a Boston cream donut. That's like my favorite. Like
You're old school donut. This is new. This
Yeah.
is new school.
We're
These are
talking fucking Crunch and Berry donuts.
I would be
Yeah,
okay. I love
Apple
Captain
Jack
Crunch,
donuts.
Center of the
and I would
blunt,
be down
dude.
for some Captain Crunch on a donut. Except, as I've gotten older, my palate can't take Captain Crunch.
It does cut it
It
up.
shreds
doesn't
the
it?
shit out of the
Dude,
roof of my
for
mouth,
real.
and then I'm screwed for eating for the next day.
You know,
I hear
that's
you
something I have to
clearly on that.
sacrifice is the inside of my mouth when I eat Crunch and Berries.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, at fucking 10:30 at night after
Uh-huh.
smoking, I have a big mug, and I'm just...
dude. I'm a Lucky Charms guy.
I like Lucky
I love
See,
Lucky
Lucky
Charms.
Charms gets just the right softness and milk that it's nice.
Yeah.
It gets a little mushy in the milk.
But
the,
not too
the
bad.
marshmallow, yeah. There used to be, and I hope it comes back because of the Ninja Turtle movie. There used to be Ninja Turtle cereal,
Which
And
was like Lucky
it
Charms.
was like Lucky Charms, except it was vanilla. The cereal itself had a vanilla flavor to the cereal, but it had the Lucky Charm marshmallow. And I used to just love that. And then one day it was gone. You know how they do these cereals? Like,
Yeah.
will you stop making gooseberry or whatever? You know?
Make something crap. Quit making the crappy stuff and bring
Yeah.
back.
Go-
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm hoping now that the movie's back, they'll bring back the
Speaking
cereal.
of the movie and in stores, the other day I had all 4 daughters at the house and we were watching TV, just hanging out, and the new mac and cheese commercial came on with Vanilla Ice doing the ninja
Ninja
rap.
Go
Baby.
Ninja,
Oh,
go.
no,
Yeah,
really?
Go
that's
Ninja, go
funny.
Ninja,
God, I
go!
hope they don't bring that back.
From the original
Yeah.
Ninja,
That's funny.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. All 4 of my daughters, no idea who that was or what the song was.
Makes
What's
you
his
feel
real
old,
name?
Rob Van Winkle,
Rob
right.
Van Winkle.
That's right.
Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
They were like, they didn't get the commercial. They were like,
Dun, dun.
huh, okay.
You
And I was
know,
like,
I'm
you
just
don't get
saying,
it. You
It's
don't
not-
understand.
This new Ninja Turtles movie, I will
I saw it.
rate that off of the old one.
I saw it.
I saw it.
Yeah.
How was it?
Were you
How'd
there
you
the
like
other
it?
night?
Yeah.
I got into you, but
How'd you guys like it?
you go first.
I already stepped in it a little bit this morning.
They definitely got it hyped up.
Well, I had
They
to
definitely
fill-
got it
It's
hyped up.
overhyped.
Well,
Here's
yeah,
the deal.
yeah.
I had to fill like 25 minutes because normally that's the time when Brian and I banter back and forth
Oh,
and
okay.
talk to Chris. So I sat at the desk with just me and a camera for like 25 minutes talking to myself. So I did a small review on the movie. I think the CGI was good. I think the special effects were good. It's never bad to look at Megan Fox's ass.
Never.
Always a good thing. I think
Can
the
she
movie.
act? Never.
No, I think the movie
Was she there to
is
act?
the movie I thought was going to be geared similar to Transformers to kids and adults. It's not an adult movie at all.
At all.
9 to 13 are going to love it. Anything over that, is the stoner guy on the couch is going to enjoy
How's
it.
the storyline?
What storyline?
There is no storyline.
Unfortunately, it's not.
At least I'm a stoner guy, so
Well,
I'll
here's
kind of
what-
like it.
Here's what I was looking for in the movie. And because I took my son, who was raised on Ninja Turtle, he
Right.
was a Ninja Turtle kid. He was I need Ninja Turtle
Loved 'em,
shoes,
Backpack. I've got the
backpack.
mask.
He was, he would go out to the mall dressed like a Ninja Turtle at 6 or 7 years old. He liked the movie a lot because he was a Ninja Turtle fan. I was hoping to go see it because I kept hearing how it's going to be dark. It's going back to the original. It's going back to the comic book. It's going to lean.
That's what I was hoping.
It's going to lean
Yeah.
toward the Dark Knight edginess
Yeah.
of the original Ninja Turtle.
That's how they've hyped it.
Not at all. Not at all. I was
Oh,
You know,
outside
one
of what the fuck was Shredder?
Shredder. To me, I was disappointed in Shredder because they said, okay, what can we take from Iron Man or Transformer and make it look like Shredder?
I wanted it to be Master Shredder with just a gi top
Right.
on
And his little helmet.
and his little
Oh,
helmet
yeah.
and the blade
Yeah,
mask
and the
and
blades
hands.
on the.
and it wasn't. It was like this.
Oh, that's
Futuristic.
so
It was
disappointing,
a Transformer
dude. Yeah.
that looked like
Yeah.
Shredder.
I'm telling you, 9 to 13-year-old kids are gonna dig the shit out of it. They're gonna like it because it's Ninja Turtles and this and
And
that.
it's Michael Bay action. And
Right,
you know
right.
how he does everything.
It's
quick
also
cuts.
as an
What-
adult,
what
it's
is that?
it's
Yeah.
Michael Bay and the camera angles and the flip and the pan screen and the.
I made myself laugh in the movie because there's one scene in the movie, and this isn't a spoiler, it won't spoil, where they're going down the mountain, sliding down the snow
In the truck?
for like 15, 20 minutes. And I thought to myself, this could never happen. This truck would never stay upright going down the side of a snow.
It came off the road and it was coming down the side of a mountain, and the mountain happened to just have a lip, almost like a toboggan hill.
Yeah, just randomly. So, but then I went, huh? Well, there wouldn't be a turtle talking.
Exactly, right?
And I laughed out loud to myself.
I can leap the reality of the truck
Yeah,
because I've now accepted
awesome.
Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, well, of course, this could.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to put realism in a turtle movie.
Yeah.
There
Well,
have
Kay
been
and I,
several movies like that recently.
Kay and I went and saw Guardians of the Galaxy this last Monday, and
I heard that
I had
was
heard
good.
some mixed reviews, but the majority of them were it was a good movie, and we really enjoyed it. We
Cool.
thought it. And here's another thing to speak on the marijuana in public thing. My thing is right before I go into a movie, I have to smoke because
No, you want to smoke.
well, yeah, I guess so. And so what Kay and I do, is we'll get there in the car,
Blaze in
and
the car real
We'll
quick.
blaze in the car. And here's the thing too, is we were sitting in the parking lot, and we had the windows cracked, and a van pulled in, and it had kids, and we started the car and moved to another part of
See,
the
there
parking
you
lot.
go. That's
and that-
exactly what you're supposed to do.
Respectful.
If you're gonna do it and you're gonna
Or-
be where you're not supposed to be,
Or get a vape pen if you feel the need
or
to
get a
smoke
vape pen.
in.
Or
to
get
go
edibles,
to
dude.
a
Get
concert
edibles.
Yeah.
or to go.
My neighbor, apparently when it became legal, my neighbor smokes. And it's, again, I'm back to my, dude, I'm out in the yard going, God damn, there's a skunk. there's a skunk in our neighborhood. And that's really what I thought. I went back in the house, came back to let the dogs out again, and I go, God, the skunk must be just
right here.
Right here. So I didn't think about it. The next day, I go walk back out and I go, is there a skunk living in the neighborhood? Boom, it's legal. One of my neighbors is getting high, and I can't open my back door without my house smelling like a skunk. Seriously. And I don't,
That's the worst part about that is that's their own property, so they can.
I know, and I know
And
that.
The only thing you can do as a neighbor is to go over and be like, "Yo, I smell it every once in a while." If you don't mind being a little respectful, but I mean, that's where you're supposed to do it if you're gonna do it.
Right.
So.
No, and I understand that. And I understand it's his property, but it dawned on me like, it's not a skunk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
It's
sure.
my
Exactly.
neighbor. I'm
Okay.
going to have to learn to learn
I worry
to
about that
be
with my
okay.
neighbors.
Now, part of the law, and I've seen it on the news before, was it's legal to smoke on your property, but the odor of it is not supposed to permeate beyond a certain smell level within so many feet.
Well, I heard they try to pass.
That's
this,
gonna be a hard one to
They have a
enforce.
sniffer.
They try to they try to pass this law when it when they first legalized it, to where if you were on your front porch and someone walked by and smelt it, they could call the cops.
Yeah.
But that
They
didn't
did
go,
try to do it.
They
No,
didn't- that
they
didn't go
they threw
through.
that one away
So-
real quick.
They have an invention called a sniffer that public
Just walk around.
official
and
offer.
The degrees of like that's a little
Yeah,
strong.
in someone's face.
Dude, I mean,
It looked like
It's on
a.
your clothes, Mister.
It looked like a megaphone, but it would take in the air and it would calculate it and tell you what at what point, and if it was coming from your place, they supposedly could.
I feel you on that, dude. One of the biggest reasons why I think that the whole, legalization or, decriminalization of it has been so fully successful within Colorado is that you don't have to bug a policeman in order to have him pull over some stoner that might have an eighth on him or something like that. I mean,
I could give a shit less if about buying weed, smoking weed in your house. Like I've stated before, I just want the laws that you guys asked us to pass for you guys to follow. Go to the dispensary, buy it, take it to your house, smoke it where you're there, stay home.
Just like you used to. Just like when you used to close the windows, lock the door, turn the answering machine on.
Get a toilet paper roll and put a dryer
Downy
sheet in it.
yeah.
And there you go. Nobody cares. There you go.
That's all.
Only now it's legal, and
I'm
you don't have
cool.
to worry about it.
Yeah.
I'm all about things that other people buy and pay taxes for that I never have to pay tax on.
Right.
I'm all about that. More people paying taxes that I don't have to pay. I'm fully for it. But like I've said before, my big thing is follow the law. The same thing with alcoholics. The same thing with booze. Follow the law. You can't go in the liquor store, buy a 40, and drink it while you're driving home. That's illegal. Don't do
Exactly.
it. Don't be a fucking dumbass and do that. Don't walk into the dispensary, walk out, and smoke the joint as you get in your car. And I hear it all the time. You never see a stoner get pulled over for... Fuck you, bullshit.
yeah.
I've been in cars with stoners that are like, dude, I drive better stoned. And I'm like, no, you fucking don't.
That's just,
You're not driving
that's just
slower. You're not... Stoners get pulled over for going 5 miles an hour. No, they don't.
that's
Now
just
they all
it.
feel
That's
fucking
just them
bulletproof.
trying to justify.
Right.
Right.
You don't
know,
do
them
anything
smoking
better.
weed
I
is
don't
just-
want you on your job as a construction worker, as a roofer, stoned out of your fucking gore, falling off a building, and the taxpayers now having to
exactly.
pay to deal with you for the rest of your life.
Isn't that another thing I heard they're having to deal with is the on-the-job kind of laws of like, if it's legal, then the company can't really say,
Well, and that's
but you
kind
can
of
be
a-
injured on the job.
And that's
then
where
Right.
it's going to come to nanograms. If
that's-
you go
yeah.
and take a piss test, in the same way that they used to be testing for alcohol. If you got hurt on the job, you had to go and take a piss test. Now, if you have so many nanograms of THC in your system, they can kick that out of workman's
Yep.
comp and say
Yep.
you violated your workman's comp agreement by
Yep.
being stoned when you were injured. In the same way it was by being drunk when you were injured.
Yeah.
And well, there's in a lot of companies nowadays, especially corporations that are nationwide, you still have to pass your drug test.
Yeah.
I mean,
And the nationwide ones actually are really good at being able to pick up synthetic pee, and they pay that extra little bit to the lab to make sure that it's actually genuinely from that person, kind of. You know
can't
what I
come
mean?
in with the fake little bag.
Yeah,
Whizzinator?
So, yeah, the Whizzinator, yeah. So especially the ones that have nationwide locations, they totally frown upon it, and you're not going to get hired there. Now, some of the local companies, I guess it would kind of depend on that mom and pop that owns it, I do know some local companies that don't mind if you do, but of course, if you get injured on the job, you're kind of screwed, dude. So, I mean...
well, and then, to go back on the smoking in public thing, it is a generation thing, because I'm not going to be walking down 16th Street Mall smoking a joint.
Right.
You know what I'm
But the
saying?
kids-
Well,
but that's what I'm saying. It's a
It's
generational
like
thing.
there's
Nah.
like this weird gap. It's like guys Steve's age. See how I made him old? And kids in their 20s
well,
are the ones that walk around like the old hippies are going to smoke wherever they're going to smoke, and the new kids are like, "Fuck you, it's legal. I'm going to smoke wherever I want."
one thing that I can kind of say about that is that being involved in the industry for as many years as I have, I tell everybody all the time it evolves daily. In so many ways it does. I think that within every person there is a little bit of an evolution if you're going to be going through and deciding to do the marijuana, because you start out and you're scared and you're looking over your back, you're even in the dispensary, you're told that you're legal, but you're still like, what the hell? And eventually you start getting a little bit more rebellious, you realize that you have a little bit more freedom, and then everybody, human nature wise, will kind of tap dance on, what
See,
can I do and what can't I do?
If I were
But-
if I were to become a stoner, I'd want it to be illegal, because I still want that,
Get that
shady,
rush.
cool feel. to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I always say. That now the kids are going to miss out on all the fun of illegal drugs,
Yeah.
all the excitement of like, I know a guy. We're going to have to go to a neighborhood where we might get killed. You wait in the car. Screw you, I'm going in. I mean, there was the whole thing.
All the way back to
extra, like,
shoulder tapping at the liquor store.
Yeah, I do have to say it's better than, I felt like my whole, late teens, early 20s, I was sitting, I probably sat for fucking a month if you calculated all the hours waiting for my guy to sell me weed.
Yeah.
To where now I can just walk in somewhere, grab it, and it's more of a convenience thing for me.
And you have a choice, and you're not in a parking lot, and
And
I always joke about that.
I usually walk in, and I'm not like, ooh, can I smell that? Ooh, can I smell that? I walk in and go, oh, that's $30 out the door, and that's $50. Let me have that $30 one out the door. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's more of a convenience thing.
Well, and to go back to your point about not wanting to have it exposed to the kids and stuff, as I was kind of saying with the evolution of things, I think once you've kind of been able, and you can probably vouch for this, because how long have you been going to dispensaries now instead of going to your guy? A couple of years maybe. But as you kind of get more acclimated, it becomes more natural in a way, which is kind of a weird way to think of it.
But at the same time, I don't know that I want it to be socially acceptable to my kids.
Well, and I'm not saying that it will. What I'm saying is that I think that the respect and the, the ability to be able to be, within the culture and not have to put it out there. I think once you've kind of been doing that, you kind of evolve within yourself of you almost kind of turn into a closet alcoholic in a way, because I'm only going to do it. When you have a little bit more respect and you start understanding. I mean, when I first got my card, I was like, holy shit, I can smoke anywhere. I was smoking everywhere because I had just gotten back to Colorado.
It's like turning 21.
Like, hell yeah, dude. You're like, hell yeah. But 3-4 years, even a year or two deep of being able to go and get it and do it how responsibly I wanted to do it. My morals are way more up. I try not to do it around people, just like cigarettes, like I said.
I think it's the first kind of it's that new birth of like the alcohol.
Yeah.
Like the first time you have sex, you want to have sex every day for the rest of your life.
In front of everybody.
Everyone don't care where it is.
Yeah,
And then you wake up and you're 42 and you still have one
you're
sex
on the big
every day.
football game. Whatever.
And that's really
right, dude?
And that's really, I think,
the
where
baby
that kind of
steps,
goes. I think within the industry as a whole, the culture will kind of get into that, and within each person individually, kind of start understanding it a little bit more. But there are those baby steps of, trying to actually realize, dude, you don't have to take advantage of it. You don't have to be a rebel. You don't have to put it out there for everyone to see.
You don't have to have a Bob Marley flag on your car. You don't. Is that? That's one of those weird things to me. I mean, I love Bob Marley. Don't get me wrong. The music is great, but there's something about just waving your Bob Marley "I'm a doper" flag. I don't understand the whole.
Well, not to say that
nothing says "pull me over" like.
Kay and I just bought a huge Bob Marley painting.
Okay, see what I'm saying?
That's sitting in our living room. You know what I'm saying? But I don't associate that with I bought this because I like smoking weed. You know what I'm saying?
Because you like Bob Marley.
I love Bob Marley. I mean...
But you're also not going to put the Irie flag on your car with a big pot leaf instead. And,
but
you see these people driving around.
Oh, absolutely.
There's something about that mentality of I must wear, or this is my symbol of, look, I have my Rasta.
Got all my dreads tucked into a Rasta hat, right?
I've got a doorway with a Bob Marley... towel,
And like I said, I think as people kind of get less taboo and more kind of comfortable with it, I don't think that people have to put it out. For so long, it's been a taboo, and it's like, I wonder who smokes around here. Oh, that dude has dreads. He's got to. But nowadays, like I said, I got teachers and lawyers and doctors and shit.
I think we do have to go through that, just like every kid goes through that rebellious stage.
Totally.
The industry has to go through that rebellious stage where it's going to be, it became legal, everyone's acting like an asshole, and then you mature a little bit, and then you kind of find that middle ground, which is cool, I guess. I mean, I hope that happens sooner than later.
I think
in the same way that, you end up like in this industry or in the music industry or in the tattoo industry, you get that new kid that comes in and he's just turning 21. And you see him and you just shake your head.
Go ahead, make your mistakes.
That's Bentley.
Go ahead.
And you just want to smack them in the mouth and tell them how to do it right, but you can't. You got to let them bump their head or wreck their car
Absolutely.
But eventually you
not show up
tattoo.
Eventually
or not
you
show
do
up
get
for work.
desensitized about it, though. Is eventually the sensitivity and the everything like that kind of wears away, and it just kind of becomes a little more commonplace, a little less taboo. And
Well, and those same kids, it wears, as a majority, it wears out on them, and they don't have to go to the. Dude, we're getting off work, going to the liquor store. Dude, we're gonna get so fucked up tonight, play beer pong until 4 a.m. and miss work.
right.
Just that with the whole weed industry will. I mean, because you've got guys now that are smoking weed that had never smoked weed in their lives,
Right.
but because they can. I just turned 21.
Totally.
I
Yeah.
can do it.
Well, then you have those people that are the older generation. Sorry, I looked at you when I said that. The older generation that hadn't smoked in 30 years. that
Right.
are just
They
like-
smoked when they were a
Very
teen.
much.
Yeah, they
Very
smoked
much.
when they were teens at a Black Sabbath concert, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Wow, maybe we should try that out. Let's go buy a brownie and a joint."
And then go home and.
And mostly they
Yeah.
walk in and they're
They
like,
lock
I know
the
it's
doors
way
and-
different these
Uh-huh.
days. I know it's way different
I've been
these days.
hearing.
That's the
Yeah.
other thing. That's the other thing that freaks me out about the industry, is we made it legal. We made medical marijuana legal, and then we made recreational marijuana legal. But the industry, the growing industry, it has gone so insane. I mean, they're making shit so potent that like you just like, oh fuck, I'm high.
Oh, that's the truth.
Where
All right.
as
No.
before, like back
Nobody
in
ever told you careful in the past.
back
Is
in
that
the
what you're
day,
saying?
we
Yeah.
went
Nobody
and
ever
bought
said, "Be
we went
careful."
and bought a fucking Ziploc baggie full of weed, and you could smoke that shit till it was gone, and you were
Yeah.
never gonna get too high.
Yeah.
Now you're like, fuck, I can't leave the house for 2 weeks.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think one of the things that goes along with that, and especially at our two storefronts, Evergreen and CHC, Colorado Harvest Company, we try to make sure that we educate our bud tenders so that, I mean, if I got a dude that's been out of that's coming from out of state and he's like an old 70s hippie, he hasn't smoked in years, I always make sure that I tell these people, you probably don't need this high-end shit right now. We have a great special on some other stuff that you're probably a little more used to.
We have some day old pot.
Yeah,
over
yeah,
here.
you know what I mean? You don't. Everybody's so interested in the race to how fucked up they can get. This is where dabs are coming from. This is where wax. I mean, now these days with a dab, you can basically take a concentrate and do a bong rip of
Oh
a
my
concentrate,
God.
and it's like a race to see how fucked up you can get, really. But I mean, you don't need to do that, and I think that it really lies on the workers within our shops. We always tell them, dude, half the people don't know what the hell they're doing when they come in. Half people don't even know what the hell sativa and indica is. So you really have to educate, and you really have to make sure that the public understands that you need to listen to the people that know what the hell they're talking about. You know what I mean?
I have some friends that we've talked about because they get high on a regular. Couple of comics, and they were saying the dabs are just too much.
Oh, yeah.
Like
That- I
these are
smoke
guys-
all the
these are guys that
time,
get
dude.
high,
I
and they're
smoke all
"No,
the
I don't
time, and they're
understand. I don't
crazy,
I
understand
did.
it. Why
I
do you
did
wanna-"
one of those. We had this piercer at the shop, and that's all he would do is these dabs, right? And he pulled out this, looked like a bong, but they call it a rig. It's this
It's a rig,
scientific
yeah.
looking fucking thing.
Got a little nail
Then
in
he
it.
pulls out a blowtorch, and I'm like, "Are we gonna smoke some fucking crack here? What are we doing?"
If I have to get out a butane torch,
Yeah, it was crazy.
that's too
dude.
much.
Oh, yeah.
But I take it. He goes, just take a small hit, and I did. Like I would take, I'm pretty sensitive to smoking, so like if I smoke a joint, I'm done. So when I smoke, I just enough to get a head changing to mellow me out or whatever. And so when I took this was at the shop, and within an hour, I mean, I could hardly talk. I was just like, I told the
Closed.
I told
Yeah.
the owner, I was just like,
Someone's coming.
I'm
Someone's
like,
coming. Yeah,
I
dude.
was like, I am not tattooing if someone comes in. There's no way I can do that.
See, and that's what I'm saying is that there is that group
And what's the
of,
point of that? I mean, what is the?
it's kind of like getting so drunk you're gonna throw up, man. I mean, I guess some people enjoy to be able to. One of the only aspect of the dabbing thing that I've actually realized could be kind of cool is there is a little bit of a social thing going on where friends all have, like one person has a rig and then everybody kind of brings their little waxes along and they kind of have a social dabbing party where
you do
everybody
that with
kind of
weed?
stays. Yeah, you
They
kind
don't
of can't
talk though, because
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, everybody's just.
it's like a heroin
Yeah.
party.
But that's the only
we
thing.
fucking-
Yeah, it's like an opium den.
Yeah,
in
for
China
sure,
or
exactly.
something.
There you
swear
go.
it's
We have
pretty gnarly.
coworkers, we have regulars that come in and they dab all the time, and I've tried it like once or twice. I only do like to get. I don't like to be unfunctional. That's why I only smoke sativas. You know what I mean? But some people just love the hell out of doing the dabs, and like I said, it's kind of a race to see who can get jacked up the best.
Steve and I get
would-
jacked up on energy drinks.
There you go.
That's all you need right there.
But one thing I can also say that, and I'm sorry for bringing it back to a kind of a PC style, but we've been talking about the hippies and we've been talking about the young guys and stuff. One thing that I want to make sure is reiterated is that there is a shit ton of real medical patients that I totally need it.
I've been seeing so much more and reading so much more about even just the cannabis oil that's helping with seizures. And
there's
I've said forever.
Fibromyalgia.
I've said forever that I am 100% for the cannabis uses, the hemp, the ways it can save deforestation of the world.
Use it for the forces of good.
Right.
Well, and then the NFL, the NFLPA, NFL Players Association, just passed it to where they're going to start using it on concussion players.
I have actually spoken specifically with athletes, not within the NFL, but with athletes that say, without a doubt, 80% of the NFL smokes weed on their day off.
Well, let me ask you this real quick. Ray Rice, who got busted for domestic violence, got a 2-game suspension after being convicted
of
domestic violence.
Domestic violence.
Whereas,
got convicted, 2-game suspension. Whereas
Von Miller,
but there's a new guy. There's a guy this year.
There's a linebacker for the Arizona Cardinals
who just got suspended for the entire season for testing positive for marijuana.
Yeah,
it's a performance-enhancing drug.
Totally not. It's a recovery drug, if anything. They
smoke it and get out on the field, and it's like, wow, this is like Madden 15.
Cool shit, someone push X.
Now, is it just because we've become desensitized?
Desensitized?
Yeah, that word.
I got you.
To marijuana because we're in Colorado? But in my opinion, a guy that gets convicted of domestic violence and violates the moral code of the NFL should definitely have a much more stiff penalty than the guy that gets busted for smoking weed.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Hands down, without a doubt.
Steve?
I mean, there's...
I agree. But I think we're... That whole domestic violence thing is... I'm trying to figure out the politically correct way.
You don't have to be politically correct. I don't care.
Well, I just think it's almost like it's an accepted kind of thing. You don't want to get involved. Maybe that's their deal. We don't need to get in it. We didn't see what happened in the elevator, so we shouldn't get involved in it. I think there's the whole, instead of just going, that is really wrong, doesn't matter.
I believe it's really wrong. I believe, my personal opinion, I believe domestic violence is completely wrong.
I was always raised
on either side.
Without a doubt.
On either side.
Hit a woman.
But I also believe that the domestic violence investigations and charges need to do a much better job of investigating what goes on, because I know of several people who I know both sides of a situation where a guy got just completely fucking railroaded and ended up in the system in a way that was that system is designed to hold somebody hyper accountable, more accountable than a normal person can be accountable for something, and charge them insane amounts of money, which puts a financial and then emotional stress on their life that almost is designed to push them to react or overreact in a way. I see, guys that I know a guy personally, he walked in the house and there was an altercation between he and his girlfriend. She was slapping, kicking, pushing the shit out of him. He was gathering some things and was going to leave the house. She kept going. He was leaving. She jumped on him. He pushed her back off of him as he was leaving because she had grabbed onto him. She tripped over shit that she had knocked over in the house. Fell to the ground. When she fell to the ground, she rolled back and her knee hit her in the cheek. She had a red mark on the cheek, and she had called the police, and when they got there, they saw the red mark on her face. He was arrested for domestic violence, 3rd-degree assault, with domestic battery and assault. He went through several years of lawyers in court and trying to go back and forth and prove. Finally, the DA came to his lawyer and gave him a plea bargain, but he was going to trial the whole way. I'm going to trial. Finally, and he had a really good lawyer. His lawyer looked him in the face and said, they have pictures of a girl crying with a mark on her face. You may not get convicted of third-degree assault, but you are going to get convicted of something because there's not a jury that's going to see a picture of a girl crying eyes with a mark on her face. That's not going to make you be accountable for at least something.
Ugh.
And I think that's bullshit.
Dude, that's a rough story right there, man.
The guy was forced into he took the plea bargain, and he was forced to take anger management and domestic violence classes. He was on probation for a year and had to complete 1 year of domestic violence and 1 year of anger management classes, in which he had to do random UAs, which is part of the system. It is what it is. It was $25 a class twice a week, so $50 a week in classes, plus $25 for a UA at least once a week. So the guy's paying $75 a week. Barely made enough money to survive before that. Then you had to pay those or you can't go to class. If you don't pay the class fee, you can't go to class. If you don't go to class, you're in violation of your probation and you go to jail. Now, if you get behind on child support because you're forced to pay those classes, you are now in violation of your probation and you go to jail.
Yeah. It's all, and the weird part of it is they got back together.
No, they actually didn't. They actually didn't get back together in this one.
That's what you always hear.
Yeah,
those,
dude, you totally hear that.
Yeah.
And then she helped pay for the classes and shit.
I go to jail, but we're back together.
But we're good.
But the same kind of thing happens if you get involved with the IRS. If you ever get in trouble with the IRS, if they garnish your wages, you're like, "What? I can't pay you because my payments have." Well, what I'm saying, it's like, I can't pay my house, is what I'm going to say. I can't pay my bills.
Because you're garnishing 25% of my wages.
And if I can't pay for gas to get to work, I'm going to lose my job, and I can't pay you. And, sorry, sir, that's not our problem. Our problem. That was actually a quote. Because when I got divorced, I got behind with the IRS years ago, because we were on a payment plan that I didn't know about. And then they wanted it all at one time. And they're like, sorry, you should have, this is your problem. You need to figure just give me enough to live on, and you can have some money.
I will pay you monthly if we can make it something that I can afford to pay you monthly.
Yeah. Right. Nope. Sorry, not our problem.
This guy's paying $300 a month to attend classes. Actually, roughly $300 a month to attend classes and pay for UAs. When he didn't make at the time, he didn't make enough to pay his bills and his child support and eat properly. And then you take $300 off of that. And what's the first thing you don't pay?
Not the food part, I think.
I mean, the guy was eating rice and beans at the time already, But anyway, we have just a very few minutes left. We got to get to Dave, my guy. We got to get to Dave. Just came to sit in and talk shit.
That's the only
Steve, back to our original conversation where this all stemmed off of. Somehow we went to.
What are you high?
Since Steve stopped doing Remasculate with me at T Radio V, his comedy career has gone crazy. You hooked up with, I didn't mention the cruise line earlier because I wanted to make sure I mentioned the right cruise line. Celebrity Cruise Line, in which he goes and flies to a port, jumps on a boat, and then he does comedy
on ships.
For like 3 weeks at a time.
That sounds like that sucks bad.
I've been
Does that
a
suck?
couple comedy shows on a cruise ship.
Have you?
Yeah, it's a good deal.
So he flies to Florida and then cruises to Rome.
Which is where I'm going at the end of August.
And his job is to do a 1 hour set.
30 minutes.
30 minutes a night.
30 minutes.
30 minutes and then 2 hours at the chocolate bar.
He does 30 minutes a night on the cruise ship and enjoys full cruise.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's
That's
awesome.
cool, man.
That's way cool.
Yeah.
And on top of that, part of the reason that the T Radio V Remasculate relationship had to start coming to an end was he also got a standing deal with Brad Garrett at the MGM.
Yeah, I work at the MGM, Brad Garrett's Comedy Club, twice a year. So
cool.
Yeah, so that was the deal. Like, this was a lot of fun. This was fun to do. But you're like, damn, I got work. I got bills to pay. I got to get out there.
He's like, I'm going to be
Yeah.
gone for 3 weeks.
Yeah, 'cause we were doing it on a daily basis on the show, and then you're like, well, it's going to be just you because I'm gone.
Yeah, I'm out.
Where are you going? I'm going to Rome. See ya.
Fuck you, asshole. Also, you work at the Tropicana a lot in Vegas.
Right.
That's a good room for
And I
you.
do Planet Hollywood now too. Planet Hollywood in Vegas.
Is
I'm
your
turning-
picture just up the strip? It's
just on the strip? Yeah.
It's just Steve,
Somebody
Steve,
just
Steve.
texted me the other day and said it was so cool to see your face on the big MGM
the
screen.
Jumbotron, yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And you're getting to play the comedy clubs like you used to and like you loved.
Right.
You just did Hyenas. Didn't you just do Hyenas?
Hyenas in Dallas, Fort Worth.
And you
just did LOL in San Antonio, Laugh Out Loud Comedy Club, San Antonio. And I'm doing a show tonight in Aurora at a bar. It's really weird to go from the MGM Grand.
Right.
The
You said
MGM
Aurora?
Grand with your
Yeah.
face on a 50-foot. But I'll be at a place in Aurora called Noonan's.
Noonan's tonight.
Noonan's. I don't know.
Do we know where it
I don't
is?
know where it is.
Yeah.
It's in Aurora.
Unfortunately, I do.
Do you
Is
know
it-
where it is?
Yeah.
Is it
Somewhere.
sold out already?
I have no idea. I just
You're just showing up.
Yeah, local comic Elliot Woolsey.
Oh, I like Elliot.
Elliot's
Yeah.
producing the show, and he goes, "Hey, if you're in town, I'd love to have you." I go, "Yeah, sure, I'll drive over." So
It's not like driving to Breckenridge or
Right,
Vail. You're just
right.
in Aspen.
yeah, that's like I said, 5-hour drive. So.
Yeah.
So this would be interesting to do a bar. So what's it like? You've been there. Help me
No,
out.
I've drove by there.
Okay. That's different.
That's
That's
different.
like me. Oh, I've been to.
I know where it is,
I've been
but
to
it-
college.
It's in
Yeah.
Aurora.
I drove by one.
It's in
I
Aurora.
drove. Hey, I've driven by Harvard many times. Many times. So you're leaving at the end of August. You're going to cruise to Rome. Noonan's tonight.
Tonight.
Do you have dates in between?
Somewhere, yeah, but nothing local.
Where do we find it?
Facebook. Everything's on Facebook, these days.
So Steve McGrew, also the Steve McGrew fan page, also remasculates the Steve McGrew podcast.
I always just say Google Steve McGrew.
Don't you love being Googleable?
Googleable?
MCGREW.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
Do you ever Google yourself? Because I do every once in a while.
Do
Just
you?
to see if I pop up.
Yeah.
I like that I'm on the first page of Google.
I've Googled a couple people we know.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How's that?
I got to show you some pictures.
Oh.
Always click on images.
Yeah,
Every time.
always images. Yeah. Yeah. let's
Mind
do this.
blowing, actually.
But
Really?
it is interesting to Google yourself if you've never done it, just to randomly see where you get mentioned.
And how
I think
far?
with
Like
me-
when sometimes you'll be like, I didn't even know this is an article out of Arizona. They're talking about comedy,
Yeah.
and my name got dropped because the Google will just look for your
Yeah.
name, and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm attached to some weird stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine is just I type in Google, and if I hit images, it's just tattoos that I've done, you know.
I put my name into Google one time, and there's some dude out in L.A. with Chad Drew as his name, and he works as a second PA and all this shit on all these big shows. So I figure maybe some of my friends might think I'm a pretty big rock star. But, you know what I mean? Like, hell yeah.
I thought this
So-
guy was just a stoner.
Yeah,
I
for sure,
used
right?
to be I used to be obsessed with my rank on Google. Like if you Googled my name or things about me,
He
I
got
had-
his own SEO.
I
Yeah.
did. I would
Did you
SEO
really?
my name. I would SEO like Trevor Rocks Denver, Unfil, everything. I would get it because I wanted if you Googled anything about me, it had to be on the first page of Google.
Really?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I don't know why. I just had this like weird obsession that it had to be.
That's like that conversation we had the last show I was at about when you put something on Instagram and you're looking at, oh man, how many likes did I get on
Yeah.
that? Remember
Yeah,
that?
Yeah. I don't know why. I haven't checked in a long time. I really quit. Giving that much.
I tattooed a Lego Wolverine yesterday, and I
Yeah, I
posted it
saw
on
that.
Instagram, and the Batman page sent me a little comment on there about a book they're doing, and he wants me to get a hold of him. So
Very cool.
Very
Very
cool.
nice.
that's pretty cool.
That's
Maybe I
way
can do
awesome.
My
something
Lego
with that.
Batman started that.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that's very true.
He did a Lego Batman on my cap.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, yeah, I remember that
And it
picture.
turned
That's
out
kick-ass.
dope, and we posted it, and it just went crazy all over the
yeah,
internet.
Hell yeah.
it did.
So this is Dave Scholl from Dave Scholl Designs. Find Dave Scholl Designs on Facebook. Dave Scholl has room on his friends list for more friends all the time. He's probably on some weird fucking hipster beard pages as well.
Not yet, not yet. But
Hey, Zach Brown.
on Instagram, I follow this Instagram page called No Shave something, and they did a thing about beard of the week, and I'm thinking about
You're gonna
Submitting.
submit.
my first beard picture. on a contest, so we'll see. We'll see.
If you would like to get a hold of Dave, he is at Lucky 13 Tattoo, which is on Kipling and Colfax over in the Lakewood area.
That's where you were.
Yeah, it's a great shop over there. Great guys. Dave does all of my work.
I've got room for one.
You've always got room. We need to get you in.
We've always got room.
We've always got
That's like the Lay's potato chip. There's always room for more.
Exactly.
If you pick up that flyer right in front of you on the table,
This one,
that right there, it's Dave Scholl Designs. If you look on the back of it, I believe
25% off.
there you go, 25% off if you bring that flyer with you.
What?
I think I was stoned when I wrote that on there.
That's good.
Because you measured like 50?
That was actually supposed to be 5% off.
Anyway, if you get a hold of Dave and set up a consultation, make an appointment, mention my name, he will give you the best pricing he possibly
Absolutely.
can because you're a friend of mine or a friend of the show. Also, Chad Drew, Evergreen Apothecary, which is just 2 doors to the north.
Yep.
2 doors to the north of Herman's Hideaway. Chad is the assistant manager there. If you walk in and mention my name, you'll get the exact same pricing you were going to get without mentioning my name.
But if you come in and talk to Chad, then I'll see what I can do.
There we go.
There you go.
There we
There you
go.
Is there a discount on the what you one is better than the other? Would you stevia? What was it? How'd you
Sativa.
Sativa, yeah.
Stevia, isn't
Stevia.
that?
That's a
Stevia,
sugar.
that is a fake sugar,
That's
isn't
a
it?
fake sugar.
You can either
Sorry.
get fake sugar or indica.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's why you need a professional to tell you what you're
There
buying.
you
Like, dude, you don't need sugar.
yeah.
You don't need it. You don't.
But
need
yeah,
it.
dude, we'll definitely take care of you. Come on by, ask for Chad. Tell him,
You don't have one of these to hold up and spin
I got
around?
many cards on me, but no, yeah. I don't have a 25%. I have a 10% off.
No, we'll take 10%. We'll take
Right.
10%. All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate you coming in and hanging out. We've burned up our time.
Yay.
So
It was fun.
if you're in the
Very
Saudi
cool.
Aurora neighborhood this evening, head over to Noonan's. Catch
Noonan's.
Steve McGrew with Elliot Woolsey. Elliot's funny. He's a
Yes.
good guy. He's a good show to host.
Jeffrey Peterson is going to be on the show too.
That's a great show.
The 420.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
420 comic.
420 comic.
All right.
Yeah.
Man, there's a lot of great comics in Denver. Denver's a hotbed of comics.
Blow it up.
Yeah, there's some great stuff around here.
Lot of good
Dave Scholl
action.
Designs again, Lucky 13 Tattoo, Kipling and Colfax, Chad Drew, Evergreen Apothecary, and CHC, right?
CHC, Colorado
CHC.
Harvest Company.
There
Yep,
we go.
yep.
You can always find me on Instagram at iRockDenver, on Twitter at iRockDenver, on Facebook. You can. I just cleared like 10 people off, so I have some room for
Did
friends.
you?
Yeah. I have a little bit of room for friends, but you can also follow the show if you just search Unfiltered and Unaffected on Facebook. WorldViral.tv is the website. My Trevor Rocks Denver site is still up. We're still doing a bunch of stuff over there as well. Anything you guys need to plug before we go?
Trevor rocks fucking
Trevor
Denver,
rocks
dude. I know
Denver.
that. We got mad love for you,
Trevor's a
Trevor.
fucking party in your pants. I think we're gonna go eat and have some tattoo time.
Donuts and ink.
Donuts and ink.
We're going
That's
for
the
Thai.
new shot.
Thai, okay.
Some Thai food and some ink is about to happen in my world.
Cool.
And then it's Kid Day. So that's it. You guys got anything else?
That's it.
Everybody's good?
I'm good. Thanks for having us all.
Absolutely.
It was cool as hell
Stop
to
by
hang with you guys.
anytime. We'll have a good time. Steve, anytime you're in town, let me know.
Drop by
I'm hoping to do the Remasculate podcast again at some point.
in here in the dopest room. And
We can do it right here. We can record it right. Anyway, have a good weekend. Have some fun. Oh, tomorrow, guys, huge celebration for me. I am receiving my blue belt from Professor Tony Baselli
yeah.
in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've been working my ass off for
Very
that.
congrats.
Tomorrow is the celebration at 303. That's 92nd in Harlan, 10:30 in the morning. If anybody wants to
are
come
we
see
all
weird
supposed,
shit.
supposed to do one of these kind of things?
Nah, we don't do that weird shit.
Nice,
But huge day for me tomorrow. Also, my
Trevor Turtle. Teenage Mutant Trevor Turtle.
My wife's band, The Hits, is playing at a birthday party for our friend Kat, who owns Blunt Images, a great photographer who's done a bunch
What
of work
is with
for us.
all these pot innuendos, dude? Like
Blunt.
Blunt Images.
Her
the
last name is
420
Blunt.
Comic.
Uh-huh.
This is a
B-L-U-N-T.
dope
Dope
studio.
studio. Dopest studio
I didn't
in
mean it.
town.
But it's also open to friends and family to come up and celebrate with him. They're going to have like a huge 30-foot
She said it was
slip and
kids-friendly
slide.
too,
It's
right?
kid-friendly. Yes, it is. The Hits and the Tatas will both be playing. Cool,
Very
fun
cool.
show for a birthday party. Get a hold of me if you want to attend. We're going to have a good time. Other than that, protect your neck. We'll see you guys next week. Now I've
yeah.
got to go be a producer.
Now he's got to go shut everything off and run a graphic across the bottom of it. Uh-huh.
Hell yeah.